2 more races remain in the Superspeedway series, and one thing stands out after the first events. Chaos is inevitable. A track full of chaos then approaches as M&R takes to the high banks of Dega. We're live from the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. We welcome you to the Monday Night Racing Summer Series presented by Mach10 Digital and coverage of the Mach10 Digital 250. Welcome to Podium Esports. We're alongside Darren Denman in the booth. My name is Kenneth Bueno. Ryan Bauer, our producer, all night long. He's using cameras provided by Dougie Beer. Denman fresh off of the Gen 4 race at Chicagoland. What a stunner. Great racing, 3 and 4 wide sometimes. Great strategy and an unbelievable finish given to James Bigford. We go back to the Super Speedways, where last time we were out in this series, we were at Atlanta Motor Speedway, where Corey Heim was able to steal the victory. We head to one of the typical Super Speedways now in NASCAR in terms of the schedule. It looks like as we wind down this season, things are only going to get wilder.
I mean, the entire season has been wild, Kenneth. Like, across the board, we've seen great racing. We've seen great strategy. We've seen chaos is the word you started to describe the show with. So I think we're going to be in a store for that again tonight. Right around 30 cars in the field tonight. And chaos is likely to ensue. So we're going to have to see how it all plays out here coming up from Talladega.
It's a wider track, so we might see a little more crazy racing. Based off of Atlanta, we saw a little bit narrower track width just because, obviously, with the way that track is built, 1.5 miles. But this one, Darren, way bigger. The biggest super speedway that NASCAR ever has. And when they built this track back in 1969, they said, we wanted a track bigger than Daytona. So they went out to Lincoln, Alabama, and they did just that.
Yeah, if you want to talk about the Ricky Bobby quote, I just want to go fast. This is the place to do it at, right, Kenneth? The fastest lap in NASCAR turned here at Talladega on the high banks. We're not going to see that tonight, but we are going to see some fast action that could, again, turn into a demolition derby here on Monday Night Racing. Practice has been a struggle for some of these guys already, so we're going to try to maybe get that out of their system. But again, it's going to be a very exciting race tonight with 96 laps or 2 hours. You see it up on the screen right now. 3 green-white checkered attempts and no fast repairs, which is probably going to thin out the field a bunch as we go through those 96 laps.
Also going to make drivers much more careful in a race like this, which is around NIS length, 94 laps, this one 96. So this is going to be an endurance, no doubt, for the field. Let's bring you trackside and give you tonight's starting grid for the Mach10 Digital 250 from Talladega Superspeedway, where it is the defending winner here at Talladega. Lane Sabile looking to go 2 in a row at this famed racetrack, and alongside him is Hawk Tamer's teammate Corey Heim, the winner of the last Superspeedway race we had in this summer series at Atlanta. Brandon Howe from the 9 car starts inside the top 3, one of our FrenchDress.com post-race show hosts, and Monin Rahman in the number 15 on his outside for P4. 5th goes to Bailey Turner in the 5 machine. He'll be joined by the 3-time winner this season, James Bigford. He has yet to be stopped so far this year. We'll see if anybody can beat him at this Super Speedway tonight. Then goes Craig Yansack in the number 33. He starts from 7th. Michael Fisher, pair of great races a couple weeks back. He's going to be into P8 to start tonight's event. Joseph Gregory in the number 20 is 9th, and rounding out the top 10, Darren Denman, the number 55 of Ronnie Osmer.
And getting into the teams now. Landon Polinsky in the 24, rolling off P11, and DJ Cummings in the 10, rolls off P12. George Jewell in the 70, rolling off P13. And Presley Sora, who is always a favorite and always a threat at these tracks, is going to go 14. Julian Ritchie is going to roll off 15th, and Francis Pelletier in the 1916. In row number 9, it's Josh Slayton, the old one, and Corey Doozer in the 14. And rounding out the top 20 is Brent Baldeck in the 4, and Joe Zolo in the 60 in 20th.
Georgetown, West Virginia's Brandon Brown starts tonight from 21st. It'll be 22nd for the 51 of Cole Cabrey. Ford Martin starts tonight from 23rd. He is joined alongside by Adam Boyles in the 220. That rounds out row number 12. Back to 24th. Then behind them, you'll find Mark Rubilis in the number 99 machine. He is flanked by Dakota Curtis. driver of the number 23 in 26th place. Steve O'Fon, the 54 is 27th. 28th will go to Doyle Lawrence in the number 3 machine. Matt Stallneck once again starting pretty far in this field. We'll see if he can make another stellar comeback. He's got Dylan Connolly in the number 95 to his outside to round out the top 30. Dale Earnhardt so close to winning this Superspeedway series at Daytona. He'll be looking to get some revenge from 31st on the grid. Alex Monteferrante in the number 79 starts from 32nd in row number 16. Taylor Burris in the number 45 rejoins the series from 33rd. He'll be flanked by Jason Grafton in the number 69 machine in 34th. And the final 2 drivers in our field did not take qualifying time. That includes Chase Cabrey in the 39 and the number 6 of Matt Alberson. Chase Cabrey ended up pretty close to a decent finish at the Brian Shock Technology 200 at Chicagoland. Ended up in 12th. We've seen how good he has been at the Superspeedway series and even just overall in the summer series as we look at the entire driver wall, the reactions, and all of these drivers getting focused for tonight's race from Talladega. Darren, your keys to try to get to victory lane in a race like this?
Stay out of trouble. Try to stay out of trouble. Keep some fenders on this thing and just be around at the end of it. Man, I'm all for the philosophy of ride around in the back and just save your stuff if you're going to try to win this thing at the end. That said, it is Monday Night Racing, so like, why not go dice it up and have some fun? But even with 2 to go, I don't even think we're going to be able to predict a winner. We're going to probably see some dominant cars off the start here through these first 90 or so laps. But just like Dale Earnhardt at Talladega a month ago, he came out of nowhere to almost win that thing within the closing laps. So look for a surprise winner here later on this evening.
We might see if there's a surprise winner, but 2 of the most dominant Superspeedway tandem drivers are going to lead us in row number 1 to the green flag. We're underway in the Mach10 Digital 250 from Talladega.
Well, clean start so far through 1, Kenneth, as the field looks to get sorted out. Hopefully we see these guys get single file here in just a little bit. But again, it is Monday Night Racing, so they're probably going to dice it up.
Look already on the outside, the back straightaway for the first time. Sabile and Heim already coupling up. You got a couple of cars trying to duck out of the line, some of them going all the way to the rear of the field. Want to make sure they avoid the chaos early on. We're roughly 3 wide in the middle of the field, but the lead has changed hands early on before they get out of turn 4. Make that Brandon Houff the new race leader, pushed by Bailey Turner.
But Brandon Houff has always been a contender. He's been solid all season long. Had a great run at Atlanta going that was foiled by someone else's misfortune. So Brandon Houff leading lap number 1 here at Talladega. Great start for the 9.
A really good push as well from the number 5 machine of Bailey Turner, who really got to the back bumper and did not let go. But here comes the tandem up at the top side once more. Sabile is going to have the nose ahead. And now we're having a little more organization between both lanes as we ride on board with James Bickford moving inside the top 5. He's in P6 now, but he should take that spot away from Brandon Houff for the moment. That top side way up on the outside wall, Darren. But not surprised to see them that high and not efficiently side drafting those on the bottom. They're making sure that all the momentum they're picking up is not being tallied by the guys on the bottom. So they're keeping as much space as possible, and that's why you're seeing the success of the outside happen so early on.
Well, I'm worried for the rest of the field to see those Hog Teamers teammates hooked up right now. They hooked up at Atlanta, and really that is what determined the winner of that race. It was Corey Heim going to victory lane, but the Hog Tamers guys ran so solidly and worked so well together. It paid dividends at the end of the race. A little bit of a reverse order now as Sabile's out front. However, again, it's early, but again, it could spell disaster for the rest of the field with these guys locked up front.
Yeah, that's true. Atlanta was a big testament to how good they worked together and how efficient they were at understanding their driving styles and pushing each other to success no matter who was in front or who was at the back. Here's the 41 of Matt Stallneck, who started pretty far back in this field, already up to 22nd place and looking in the middle, 3 wide already here on the number 97. Right on his inside, that's Julian Ritchie, and then Joe Zolo, Dakota Curtis. Among those on his outside, the 41 looking to grab some help. Looks like he does in the form of Curtis. So the Ford Mustangs going to work together in the middle of the racetrack. But so far, to no avail, the 41 is going to back out of line, and he's going to just stay where he's at. A lot of that, Darren, is trying to pick and choose your moments at these super speedways because you have so many drivers in the draft going 3, 4 wide sometimes. Just depending on where you are, you need to make sure that A, you have sufficient help to get you around the super speedway and get you some position, and also just trying to make sure that you don't put yourself in a dangerous spot where you can be ending up in a situation where you're getting contact and you might end up causing a yellow.
Yeah, it looks like we had some problems there already from Jason Crafton. He had some issues last week as well. Looked like he might be losing touch with the draft here in the early going, lap 5, or he might just be playing the strategy game, get a little bit further back in the pack and avoid the attrition that we're going to expect a little bit later on, or really at any moment at this point. It is Monday Night Racing, right? So just watching out for those guys and their possible strategies dropping to the back of the pack to avoid these things.
Yeah, but you're right. They did lose the draft, and that is now 4 cars that have lost grasp of this top group. You look at Joe Zolo trying to make it through the middle 3 wide, but Grafton, the most recent driver to fall off the first pack in draft. The second one was Landon Polinsky. You saw him go sideways on the apron earlier as Grafton was going by. He is 34th, and then Francis Pelletier and Adam Boyles, both of them backed out on the back straightaway, lap number 1. So they ended up falling out of the draft, and they're going to try to pick up the other 2 that have fallen out of line. Here is Dale Tanhart in the number 81, already up a couple of spots and still trying to work his way up through the field. Now 24th, just a little bit behind the number 41, Matt Stonek, who's around 2 or 3 cars up ahead. And I do believe we do have some 3 wide action, because right in the middle is Chase Cabrey in the 39, help from the number 14 of Corey Deucer.
I was watching him come up through the field. They looked like the Cabrey boys were hooked up for a second there, but look at this run already. He started shotgun on the field. We are 6 coming to 7 laps in this thing, and he's already solidly in the top 5, 8th, looking for more.
And the 39 is going to go on the inside. He'll follow with the 5 and the 9 car, who have been pioneering the bottom, and they have not left at all since the drop of the green flag. And Cabrey comes into this race 3rd place in the Super Speedway Series standings. We haven't talked about point standings all that much throughout this series, but in the Gen 4 and Super Speedway Series, we do have points, and we will have champions at the end of the 4 races that each series will have. We're in the 3rd race of the Super Speedway Tour here at Talladega. Chase Cabrey comes into this race with a total of 111 points. Behind the leader, 14, and the leader of the standings is the man 2nd place on the track right now, Corey Heim. Now, Darren, we're officially getting 3 wide action, led by Michael Fisher on the bottom, and then the 33 machine of Craig Yancek in the middle.
Yeah, so much for that. Maybe we'll just take it easy and try to save our stuff for the end. The boys want to play here early on, and they are 3 wide doing it at the stripe. The Hog Chambers guys still continuing to lead the field, but going back to the Chase Cabrey, was thinking about him earlier. He's starting shotgun on the field. Why not ride around out back? You know, that might be the smart thing to do. Probably not the fun thing to do, but here he is at the front of the field, battling already as we're on board with DJ Cummings. He also had a great run at Daytona to start this Super Speedway Series, and just lost it on the last lap from a nudge from Dale Tanhart, who's also coming up through the field.
And we know DJ Cummings is a solid driver at the Super Speedways. He did win a Super Speedway race in Monday Night Racing history. Picked his 2nd career win with the Indy cars at Talladega. So it was the same track, obviously different car, and way different handling characteristics with that IR-18. But in the case of just driving at the Super Speedways and positioning yourself in the right place at the right time, DJ Cummings knows how to do exactly that. We're all riding on board with the number 98. This is Presley Sora up into 13th. And what a cool story for Presley, Darren, that he posted about, I'd say, yesterday or today. I think it was last night that he posted it on his Twitter page, that he had a collaboration with Enchroma prior to his first asphalt late model race at Salem Speedway, and WLKY CBS, the local station there, Darren, did a feature on Sora trying the glasses for the first time. He grew up colorblind, and now he can properly see color. Right before that, his first late model race, and these pictures definitely tell you the story, Darren, of what Sora sees without those glasses and what he does with the Enchroma on.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing, and really cool just that, again, Presley is doing so much in real life with what he's experiencing. You know, we talked about him last week getting involved with the community and getting called Race Car Man by the kids at the youth center over the summer. Now he's in the media again this week for this great advancement really in his life, this great new ability that he's going to have. And, who knows, maybe we'll see some really sweet kind of paint schemes coming out of his shop now that he's got these great glasses for him.
Yeah, really cool to see Vince Wolfram, who was the reporter who did the feature on Sora, trying to document his journey with color blindness and then him trying on the glasses for the first time. I remember in that feature, when you watch it, he tried for the first time. He's like, wow, like I didn't imagine yellow, I imagine yellow's a boring color, but now I kind of like it now. So, cool to see Presley Sora with that collaboration with Enchroma, and obviously awesome to see him as well on the real life side of things, take to the late models on short tracks across the country. You look at the 39 machine, Chase Cabre, we saw his progression early on, but it has stifled quite a bit. Remember, he was inside the top 10, Darren, now has fallen back to 17th, so the draft really not helping him at this stage of the race. Meanwhile, Brandon Houff continues to move on the inside. Lane Sabila and Corey Heim maintain the middle as the top side is developing. And Craig Yantak once again at the forefront.
It really seems like everyone is looking for something that they don't have right now outside of the Hog Tamers guys, right? Like we see the Hog Tamers and Monin Ramen locked up top. They've been locked up. Actually, that top 4, I guess, has been locked up all top pretty much all race long. But throughout the rest of the field, everyone else has been pretty fluid, falling back, clawing their way up front. The fun part about this all, though, is that everyone has stayed clean so far, knock on wood. If this was the opening race of the season, we would have probably seen about 15 of these guys upside down already. So they're keeping it clean here in the early going at Talladega.
We have seen some more shuffling, Darren, no doubt about it. I mean, those first couple of laps, everyone was rather clean, everyone was conservative, but now over 12 laps, they're being a little more aggressive. And yes, you're right, they have been clean, but they have been a little more comfortable going 3 wide, getting those big runs, taking them and trying to find some help around them. It's been a lot of fun to watch as Cole Cabre darts to the inside in front of Brandon Houff, and he takes the lead here from Talladega Superspeedway, riding in the top 20. Or just outside of the top 20 is Dylan Connolly in the number 95 machine, who joins us now in the broadcast booth. Dylan, what are you seeing out of your front windshield right now? I know you're in the heart of the pack as it stands.
I see about a 20-car wreck ahead of me. I mean, it's getting a little hairy, so I dipped out of there. Yeah, it's been fun. I tried the top. The top was moving. I got up to like 8th. I started like, I can't remember. It was so far back I can't remember. Then I went to the bottom, then the bottom kind of stuck it up, and now it's just, nobody really wants to know where we go, as there's a car in the wall right here. That was a situation, but yeah, we're having a good time back here. We're just biding our time. I mean, I want to make it a lap 95, 96, before I try anything, so yeah, just having a good time.
I can imagine it. It's been a lot of fun just trying to get yourself sorted here at Talladega. Has been anyone that you've been watching? I know Dale Tanhart is right behind you, so I'm not sure if you'd be willing to work with him. Any drivers you're looking at to probably either work with or some drivers to avoid?
I mean, I don't really, I've raced with Dale before in official races. He's really the only one that I know of. I mean, Corey Heim, obviously, he's done in real life. We had an episode up front, but we're having another episode, but this is all good. I'm just kind of evaluating everyone. I know Presley's fine. I mean, there hasn't been really anyone that I've labeled so far as a quote weapon so far, but it's been a lot of comers and goers. It's been a usual next gen super speedway race. Everyone's going to be in first or last at some point in this. Just hopefully, I'm in first at the end of this. So holy cow, that's a big run next to me. God. They're like 4 wide.
Yeah, they're all over the place. Well, Decon, we'll let you get back to it. I know you're in the heart of this mess right now, so we'll let you get settled. But thank you for joining us. We appreciate the time, and best of luck out there. Keep it clean.
Hey, you bet. The best way to be, you got to learn how to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations in life and in sim racing. So there you go.
All right, that is Dylan Connolly in the number 95 machine as we watch 3 wide in the middle of the pack. Michael Fisher, Darren, did an unbelievable job to get to the outside of Brandon Houff, stole the race lead away. We saw Corey Heim and Lane Sabile get pushed further back through the field, so shuffling significantly happening at the front of the field as Brandon Howe gets the push by Presley Sora, and he takes the lead once more.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much going on track right now. I don't even know what to talk about. We saw Chase Cavery now falling back, maybe even losing touch with the draft. He's fallen so far back, but the Hog Tamers have been broken up at the front of the field, and now it is anybody's race really here. 16 laps in is now Presley's going to go for the lead going down the backstretch.
Presley goes to the high side. He'll get the push by the fellow Ford Mustang and Michael Fisher. Look at the run by Bailey. Turn to the middle. Had the push by the 41, and we are almost 5 wide in the middle of turn 3. We're going to be able to save it. Everyone stays clean. But you look at that wide shot, Darren. These drivers are getting antsy. Big block to Turner, into Sora, down the track, hard into the wall. Him and Brandon Howe go. And will that be the caution? Race control is not going to throw it.
Waiting to see these guys get fired up and rolling again. No caution, though, as Half is going to make it to the pits, as is Sora. But again, no fast repairs, so a tough break for a couple of these guys early on with no fast repairs and no caution. Major setbacks from some of the major players here on Monday Night Racing.
They're going to need a yellow because they will go a lap down or more. They are still duking it out at the front of the field, but it is still led by Michael Fisher in the 30. Turner trying his best to get back to the front. Try and see and dial up that replay, see if we can get a better look at exactly what happened. But it was a stack up that began with Bailey Turner, Darren. He tried to move up the racetrack in front of Presley Sora, got him out of shape. That's exactly how it started.
Hey, watching this, that's Turner in the 5 down low. Presley up high in the 98 and just was not clear when he went up. Presley just looks like he lost the handle on the car when that 5 came up in front of him, and unfortunately took Half with him as well. Half's just an innocent victim there, but right at the front of the field is now caution on the speedway.
Caution out for DJ Cummings sideways in the middle of the corner. Looks like some others have picked up damage as well. The main victim involved is Cummings, and you look at again that replay there from the back bumper of Bailey Turner, goes all the way down into the inside of the racetrack. The yellow happened in turns 1 and 2. This is the 10 machine of DJ Cummings. Had a push from the number 3 of Doyle Lawrence behind him. It looks like minimal contact, and it gets him sideways into the corner.
They're just getting a little bit of a light fuel load there as we're still watching. That's DJ right there in that NASCAR color looking car. Don't see the contact there just. There we go, there's the contact, and just, yep, minor contact. 4 cars wrapped up in that thing, to include Brett Baldeck in the 4. But DJ Cummings sideways in 1, bringing out our first caution here on lap number 18, Talladega.
Look at Matt Alberson, driver in the 6, who, when we were talking to Decon a moment ago, he got into the outside wall, dropped through the pack, and then was right in the middle of this mess. And they did catch Corey Heim. So I'm not sure whether there's a lot of damage on the number 11 Toyota Camry, Darren, but that's going to matter big time when you're at a super speedway and you're full throttle basically around the entire track. You get a piece of damage, it's going to hurt you aerodynamically, and that could scrub off a lot of speed. Here's a look from Heim.
There's Heim in the 11 up top there, and he gets hit pretty hard in the wall, actually. So we're going to have to see how that affects Heim. But you know what? We've seen Heim battle back from damage before, not necessarily at a super speedway here like Talladega. So it is going to be something to watch over the next 70 laps or so.
And Brett Baldeck, driver of the number 4, man, that's a hellacious hit. And Baldeck obviously did not expect that to get him right then and there. The driver out of Rochester, New York, driving the podium Toyota Camry. Looks like his damage going to be accrued rather early. We do have word that Presley Sora, due to that incident and due to the fact that he brought it down pit road, he is disconnected from tonight's Mach10 Digital 250, so he will not be able to continue. Leaders on pit road. Michael Fisher going to bring everybody in. And I'm certain, Darren, that 19 laps in, you probably would not expect these guys to be in, but it looks like many of them getting some fuel and possibly some tires, as Michael Fisher, I think, overshot his pit stall quite a bit.
It's also going to be interesting to note on this one as we watch those Hog Tamers guys at the front of the field take tires right there at pit stalls 1 and 2. Leighton Sabile is going to lead them off, but where is that going to shake out the House of the world, who had to, House is 1 lap down, as is Presley Sora, so there's not going to be any cycling through. There's not going to be really any big break there for those guys, as it looks like Sabile is going to lead them off pit road, with Mona Rahman close behind in second.
Yeah, Layton Sabile with a great stop there at 10.8 seconds. Monin Rahman behind. Doyle Lawrence in the number 3 machine. He was the one that got involved in that crash with the number 10 of DJ Cummings. He is now up to 3rd after starting in 28th. Michael Fisher 4th. Bailey Turner inside the top 5. And what a really good run it is for Layton Sabile, who got drop kicked through the field for a moment and just got beat by the draft, but then found his way all the way to the front. He just needs Corey Heim at this stage if they want to continue that hog tamer domination right now, as caution flag is out for the first time. So 20 laps into this Mach10 Digital 250. Layton Sabile, the leader so far. We'll bring it back in just a couple of moments from Talladega Superspeedway.
Mach10. Let's give Mach10.
You're cleared for takeoff.
FrontStretch.com, providing up-to-date news, analysis, and commentary on all the latest in the world of motorsports. Check out Front Stretch YouTube page for post-race content after the checker flag waves for most NASCAR events, giving you up-close interviews with your favorite drivers and the stories that matter each weekend. For the best seat of the track and the best view on the web, visit FrontStretch.com.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. We continue our coverage of the Mach10 Digital 250 as part of the Monday Night Racing Summer Series presented by Mach10 Digital. Kenneth Bueno and Darren Denman to bring you the coverage. And over the first 21 laps, Darren, we saw a bit of chaos, a lot of movement through the field. But what have you noticed early in this event?
Everybody's here to have fun, right? There's no real guys falling back looking to save their stuff for the end. Everyone is shuffling through the field, comers and goers, as someone put it earlier. So it's going to be a fun race throughout. I was surprised we kept it as clean and caution-free as we did through the first, 17 laps or so before we got that big one there that we finally had to wave the yellow flag for. So it's going to be an interesting race. Everybody now on fresh tires with 70-something laps to go. Pit strategy probably won't play a big part in this with the cautions we're assuming we're going to get. But it is something to note as this race plays out.
Also to note, one big name out of this race early, the 98 of Presley Soar. Brandon Half, who led this race earlier, is now a lap down in 33rd place. Layton Sabile and Monin Rahman bring us back to the green flag from Talladega Superspeedway. The 25 shifts up to the top to block the run by the 15. Doyle Lawrence, a push by the Chevrolet behind him, and Bailey Turner gets him to the front, but the tandem might not last out of turn 2.
And I liked Bailey Turner, what he did at Daytona in the first race of the Summer Series, and to see him up front is a great place and an expected place to see him. Let's see if he can hold off the field, though, as he's pushing and shoving down there on the low line. As Sabile on the high side looks like he has a run.
He does, but it's not going to be enough to break the number 3 of Doyle Lawrence. Bailey Turner came home in the 8th place position in the last race, Gen 4 at Chicagoland Speedway. Had a fresh tire call that could have worked and gotten him the win, but unfortunately so many cautions came out, it hurt his chances of getting to the front as fast as possible. Still a great finish, but Turner still eyeing in on his first career Monday night racing victory. How about Matt Stolnick in the 41, up to the top 3 after starting 29th?
Matt Stolnick on the high side. He's not the best qualifier. He is a heck of a racer, though, and he's got the momentum and the push from the 23, looking for the lead as it's 3 wide for the lead at Talladega.
Stolnick, a 2-time winner in his Monday night racing career, both of them coming at Superspeedways, one at Daytona and one right here in Lincoln, Alabama. The 41 getting the push from the 23 of Dakota Curtis as here swoops down the 30 of Michael Fisher, trying to nab the lead away, but to no success. Draft is advantageous on the outside. Cole Cavery looking to split the difference, and he does, gets to second.
Oh man, they are just dancing back and forth and playing the runs at this point. Who's going to lead this one? It looks like it's going to be Cavery at the line. But Sabile with the lead into one. Great racing up front here at Talladega, as Stolnick's going to latch on now back to the bumper of the 51 and try to push him back to the lead.
And as they cross the start-finish line, in your top 5, 3 of them started 22nd or worse. It just shows you how big progress works here at Talladega Superspeedway. Big block up to the top. Potential crossover there by Fisher, but could not do it. The run goes back to the inside, shortest way around the racetrack. And Darren, what I've noticed is that a lot of these drivers are getting smarter with the runs that they're getting. These next-gen cars, when you're standing right behind somebody, you can get such a huge run on them and slam the rear bumper, or you can immediately slingshot past them. What I've noticed is that they've become a little more careful with it. They do have big runs, but they're smarter about where they place the car, smarter about how they make those runs work, and ultimately is creating the fantastic racing we're seeing right now. We're almost 3 wide for the lead.
It is incredible racing. I was just looking at the 3 and the 5 hooked up on the bottom and thought that they were going to run like that for a while. They've been hooked up a lot all night long, but Turner got a run. Turner got a push and was able to block into the lead. And now Matt Stolnick solidly up into second. And now great racing at the front of the field from some of our veterans of Monday night racing as they go high side at Talladega. What just a fantastic battle for the lead up front.
It's been awesome to see, and I was wondering there if Lane Sabile was going to follow Michael Fisher to the bottom and make it a case for the front. They did not. They stay separate. Fisher blocks the run on the bottom by Doyle Lawrence. Mark Rubilis gets in as the 3rd car on the inside. That bright green and blue Toyota Camry for Crypto Autosport. And now manning the middle are the 2 Ford Mustangs, Craig Yansack in the number 33 and the number 51 of Cole Cavery. You're right on board with the 99 of Rubilis, the driver out of Glendale, Arizona, trying to make sure that he can stay where he's at. But that outside, Darren, really has the momentum. They have basically separated themselves at around 5 or 6 cars from the main pack as here comes Sabile.
Sabile got the run. It looked like Bailey Turner just had to check up a little bit. Stolnick got into the back of him, and Sabile stepped out with the run. He's back going for the lead with help again from Monin Rahman. Monin Rahman all night long, great pusher, just latched onto the back of Sabile's car all night long. He's been latched on to the Hog Tamer's cars all night long either way, as he's now trying to get Leighton Sabile in the 25 to the lead.
And the engineer at Venturini Motorsports is having the run of his life right now. And you looked at Michael Fisher, who just got absolutely sent by everyone and dropped all the way back through the field. He's now down to 12th place, trying to recover in this main package. There's a huge Checo on the bottom. Stacked a lot of drivers up there, still trying to make it 3 wide through the middle. Craig Yansack looks like he has backed out. Looks like he's not actually going to follow Corey Deucer into line. Now ducks low. Bailey Turner bringing in the 41 and Matt Stolnick. So the 2v2 happening once again on the inside and the outside at a turn 4.
Just incredible racing again up front. Really love what Bailey Turner's doing in this 5, though. He's got that bottom on lock, and he seems content to hold that right now as the pack just seems to be all over his back bumper. He's losing the lead here just a little bit with the momentum and the formation up top, but gotta watch Bailey Turner in that black number 5. I just love the clean black look on that car. We got one sideways. That looks like the 3. He's gonna take Rubilis with him. Caution is out at Talladega.
And it's Doyle Lawrence in the 3. Brandon Brown gets involved late. The 99 of Mark Rubilis. And that is our second on-track caution of the night involving 4 or 5 cars. Ronnie Osmer in the 55 seems to be in it, but it all started with the 3 of Lawrence, who got sideways in the middle of turns 1 and 2. I think, Darren, that was a faulty push by Rabilis in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, it looks like he just got low, and surprised again to see so few cars involved. I guess it was a little bit back of the pack, a little ARCA brake action there up top. I believe that was the 24 coming in late, but a lot of torn up race cars, and with no fast repairs, this is going to be a big point in the race about a third of the way through.
Here's a better look. There were 3 wide from top to bottom. The 99 goes down there. Lawrence is not expecting that run. He gets sideways, comes back up the track, and then you see a 3-car stack up that happens in front of him. The 01 of Josh Slate gets into the 95 of Dylan Connolly and the 07 of Ford Martin. So you'll see these 3 all single file. This is also, by the way, in front of the current Superspeedway points leader, Corey Heim. They all get together. Heim is able to separate himself from the chaos, and it looks like all 3 of them do a nice job of saving it.
And the man who wins everything, James Bickford, was all around that. It started in front of him. They were crashing behind him. They were crashing alongside him, and somehow he makes it through unscathed. If there is a blessed child in this race, it is going to be the 29 of James Bickford, as it seems like it's just his season in Monday Night Racing this summer.
29 has been on fire, winner at Chicagoland last Monday, and here's a look. Jason Grafton getting the rear end of Brandon Brown, so that got him into the incident, and then they also bring in the 55 of Ronnie Osmer, so make that a hefty incident here. Bring us our second caution at lap number 29. Here's a look from the 55. Really didn't go around, but saw himself right in the middle and had to hop on the brakes. Well, luckily, those next-gen brakes did their job, and he avoids any sort of damage. He's able to continue without a scratch on his Mustang. Leaders are on pit road again. A lot of it fuel called, Darren, and not surprised to see this, given the fact that we've had 2 cautions over these 29 laps, but no surprise that Lane Sabile is out front again.
You know, and with the unlimited pit stops, it just, why not? You know, there's no safe spot on the track, right? We've seen guys crash out of the lead. We've seen them crash in mid-pack and seen them crash out of the back of the pack. And we're only 30 laps into this thing. So the way these cars are set up and the way the draft is working and the way that just everyone is moving around, why not take the opportunity, only 30 laps in, to just fuel up, top off, and get some tires on that thing? I guess no one took tires, but, you know, if you've got the chance to pit with little fall off, take it.
Oh yeah, 150%. And Lane Sabile comes into this race, the winner last time we were here at Talladega Superspeedway. That was out January 2nd, 2023, season number 6. That was his first career Monday Night Racing win, and Lane Sabile was ecstatic about that one. Took him all the way to the championship 4 after winning with the trucks at Chicagoland, and the 25 did a phenomenal job to work his way through the season and to try to get himself a shot at the championship. However, he is letting a bunch of cars by. So did Sabile get a pit road penalty here?
And we're gonna have to see. However, again, as long as he stays on the lead lap, and even if he doesn't here, he should still be okay. As talented as Leighton is behind the wheel of that 25, it's going to be a setback, but it should be a minor one at that, and just something to add to the story as he tries to march back through the field. He's actually looks like he's coming back down pit road. If that's to serve a penalty or not, we'll have to see.
I'm not entirely sure. I'm looking back at the entrance and exit of pit road. Sabile seemed to have no significant issues as far as speeding is concerned, but we'll bring in the driver who now settles into third, Bailey Turner. And Bailey, man, you have been all over the place tonight at Talladega, but you've been providing a show. What has it been like to try and scrap for the first spot and just be working with a bunch of drivers along the way?
Yeah, no, it's been tough. First off, apologies to Presley there on a late block, and just that was on my part. I looked in the mirror, thought I was clear. By the time I got there, he had a run, and I just feel sorry for that. But overall, I mean, it was tough. You know, Leighton and Corey were just sitting up there controlling the race, and I was trying the best I could to push Brandon, and it just seemed like, you know, if I didn't have any help behind me, you can only do so much with 2 cars. So trying to get here, get organized with teammates, and see if we can make a run at it. But hopefully we're providing some entertainment. It looks like it's been pretty fun all throughout the front of the pack here.
It's been a lot of fun watching on the broadcast, but I think my heart has been racing over 120 since you guys started driving 3 wide. And let's talk about this week in comparison to last week, where you drove the Gen 4s at Chicagoland. You had a fresh tire strategy that could have worked if you had the green flag laps. Unfortunately, it did not go your way for the race win. Does tonight give you more incentive to race a little harder, or to give you more motivation to go out for this win, given the fact that last week didn't go the way you planned?
I mean, yeah, I think, there's two different, disciplines as far as driving. Like right now, it's really all about knowing how to manipulate the air and build these runs and, work with teammates and try to do what you can. But last week's just so different. But, going forward, just always trying to be in the lead. I feel like if you're out in the lead, you're out in front of the mess. So hopefully me and Matt and DJ and these guys can try to work our way back up here and control this race.
We've been putting on a show, no doubt about it. Bailey, we appreciate the time. We know the green flag's coming up in just a bit, so go get him out there.
Thank you.
That's Bailey Turner, driver of the 5 Chevrolet Camaro. He's going to be rolling off third inside of row number 2. Monin Rahman, the leader here on the green flag. He will be joined by Corey Deucer. Both of these drivers started 4th or worse. Monin Rahman with the best start at 4th. 18th for Corey Deucer. So what a run it's been for the driver of the 14. They'll be the first to see the green flag. Question is, do they have substantial help behind them when they get to turn 1, Darren? The last thing you want to do is be the lone car ahead of the field coming out of the first 2 corners. They'll make their way down the long tri-oval to the restart zone. Monin Rahman hops on the gas pedal. There's the push delivered by Bailey Turner. We're back under green.
Looks like that bottom lane really had it locked up. Real tight formation there on the bottom. They should have the advantage into 1, but no, it's the outside that's got the advantage. As we cruise through 1, that's Bailey Turner. We were just talking to him. He's got the push on the 14, and he's probably going to be looking for more, a little antsy to get to the outside, and he does. Bailey Turner looking on the outside with help from Matt Stolnick for the lead at Talladega. As the formation on the tires, the 14 gets spun off the bumper of Monin Rahman. Will we see a caution? It looks like it's going to be a 1-car incident. But the 14 is around on the backstretch as Turner leads them to 3 and 4.
He spins underneath the racing line, so race control does not push the caution button. Bailey Turner makes his way to the front. He swapped up to the high side, Darren. Took him little time to get up there. Pushed Rahman up front, then saw the run by Deucer and said, all right, I'm just going to go with you instead. Swapped up to the outside with the 41 to help. All of a sudden, Bailey Turner has the clean air and the race lead. Joseph Gregory in the 20. He's moved up into the top 12. He looks all the way through the middle, trying to follow in the case of the 07 Ford Martin. Cole Cavery, who at one point trying to make it 3 wide through the middle. Now trapped on the high side with nowhere to go. Organization building up a bit. Michael Fisher tries to look on the top side. He'll be followed by a couple of drivers trying to look at Bailey Turner in a 3 and 4.
It's interesting to see what Matt Stolnick does. I think he's the key into a lot of this right now. He's running second on the bottom as we cruise through 3 and 4. We're through the thunderstorm here in Pennsylvania. My lights are flickering as they go through the tri-oval in Talladega. But Bailey Turner, with that push from Matt Stolnick, he knows what he's doing, does Matt Stolnick. And the question is how long does he stay there and ride? I think he's smart enough to just ride out the middle portions of this race in second, content to ride there and keep his nose clean.
Yeah, and especially if no one's making a charge on the outside for now. That outside is still a bunch of car lengths back. You can afford to just sit where you are and hang in this draft unless you find a run good enough for the taking. James Bickford is also in this situation as well. He's moved this way up into 4th mode, and Rahman turn into turn 3, hard into George Jewell down the racetrack. And it looks like he'll be able to keep it away from everyone else. So once more, Darren Denman, we have a scare that does not result in a yellow flag.
Boy, that's quick. 2 quick incidences that Monin was involved in. Waiting for the replay on that one as he's going to come through the trial now. Now we've got it up from our producer, Ryan Beard, as there you see Rahman in that mobile 1 car on the high side, off the bumper, into Jewell. Jewell hard on the outside wall. We've got hoods flying all over the place, but we stay green here at Talladega as Rahman actually is the one that's going to come away from that mostly unscathed. Good break for him. I don't know how he did that.
Yeah, I don't know how that did not cause a caution. I'm surprised that everybody got through cleanly. You look at the 70, he travels down the apron onto the racing surface, and nobody got into him. So the second time we have a almost caution out on track that does not result in a yellow, and now we have a huge pack, but they're going to be broken up. Caution flag is out officially here from Talladega. And it looks like a big stack up at around turns 3 and 4. It involved Corey Heim and Lane Sabile. So that was in the second pack of cars. Man, the drama has been all over the place tonight.
Man, it's the guys that we maybe wouldn't expect to see in that. We're going to see who and how they got involved in this. That's the Hog Tamers teammates side by side with Chase Cavery on the bottom, and just a errantly timed move by Corey Heim there sends him into the wall and puts us under caution. Unexpected from the 11.
And this is an odd situation here because not only are they in the second pack, but look who they're catching up to. That's the Toyota Camry of Joseph Gregory, who's way slower than these guys. Heim was going to go down to block the 25. And then the question would have been, if he went down a block and they would have been fine, how would they have handled Gregory? Would they have just sent it to the rear bumper and expected him to just hold on to the race car? A very weird situation.
It's such
look at Heim just go down, not clear at all, right into the front bumper of the 25.
And we've talked about how well those Hog Tamers teammates work together. I put my foot in my mouth, I guess, at the beginning of the race, saying how greatly they work together even at Atlanta to get Corey Heim to win, and how the rest of the field should fear these two hooked up. And yet here, just a mistake at the end of the back straightaway sends Corey Heim around and puts us under caution.
Such a significant closing rate. You saw it there off the rear bumper of Joseph Gregory, who was just hanging by himself, waiting for a draft pack to go pick him up. They were going to be in. Just a little bit of miscommunication. Heim thought he was clear at the moment, thought that Sabile probably was going to slow down and give him the space, but unfortunately, they do make that contact, and the Hog Tamer teammates end up in that situation. You look at Mark Rabillas getting turned by Brandon Houff, but fortunately, both of them were able to keep it off of the inside. Wall leaders are back on pit road at lap number 36, so with 60 laps to go here in this Mach 10 Digital 250, Darren, we've seen the field come down every single time we've had a caution. A lot of this just to top off on fuel. Race off for the lead. Dakota Curtis barely getting to Bailey Turner, but the 5 car wins it.
Yeah, I love it. And take the chance when you have it, right, to get the fuel, get tuned up as best you can. And, we're probably going to see that throughout the rest of the race. And why not? Because we could see a long green flag run that could make you pit under caution. I know it's unlikely, but still, track position is probably not as important as being able to stay on track.
37 laps down here in this Mach 10 Digital 250. Bailey Turner, the leader, here from Talladega Superspeedway.
Mach 10. Let's give Mach 10.
You're cleared for takeoff.
FrontStretch.com, providing up-to-date news, analysis, and commentary on all the latest in the world of motorsports. Check out Front Stretch YouTube page for post-race content after the checker flag waves for most NASCAR events, giving you up-close interviews with your favorite drivers and the stories that matter each weekend. For the best seat of the track and the best view on the web, visit FrontStretch.com.
Coverage of the Monday Night Racing Summer Series presented by Mach 10 Digital is presented by Mach 10 Digital, your partner for stunning video production and digital marketing solutions. From concept to creation, they bring your vision to life with precision and creativity. Elevate your brand with captivating visuals and impactful messaging. From weddings to real estate videography, contact them today at Mach10digital.com for digital excellence. Mach10 Digital, where innovation meets creativity. 38 laps through of this Mach10 Digital 250 from Talladega Superspeedway. Bailey Turner, the race leader, but the driver sitting in third is the man who started all the way back in 29th, Matt Stolnick. First of all, Matt, welcome to the broadcast booth. And I have to imagine every time you get into a race car in this series, you have a rocket booster strapped to the back end of your car because you start at the back of the field and you work your way up in no time. How were you able to do it tonight?
You know what? It's good teamwork. You know, between Bailey and DJ, you know, we got hooked up early and we're able to find each other. And you know, when you have good teammates here at Talladega, it's pretty easy to get to the front. We work really well together, us three, and courtesy of that, we find ourselves in a pretty good spot here.
Well, you've got some fans out in the chat tonight. Matt's mom, 41, is cheering you on in the Twitch chat. So I'm sure you've got a little more motivation to go out and get that win. Absolutely.
Love my mom. She tunes into everything. Shout out to her. Appreciate her and everybody else that's tuning and watching. We're going to get a win for all the Stolnick fans tonight.
All right, best of luck, Matt. We'll see you at the green flag.
All right, man.
Matt Stolnick, driver of the 41, right behind the 5 of Bailey Turner, the control car here on this restart. Lap number 39 of 96. Green flag back in the air. Good push from the 41 to the 5. Bickford trying to assist. Dakota Curtis on the outside of the first 2 rows. And there's Cole Cabry there in the 51. Not too far behind either, but the inside is going to prevail in the first 2 corners. Craig Yancek, the 3rd car there, going to rocket these cars to the front. And Stolnick not letting off the back bumper of Turner. As here comes Fisher with a move on the outside.
I think that key is going to be those 2 black cars hooked up on the bottom, Kenneth, as we've talked about it just a little bit ago. Matt Stolnick is such a pro at this. I think he's going to keep in line with Bailey Turner here and just log some laps, try to keep the nose of both of those cars clean. But it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out because no one really seems patient tonight, as it looked like Yancek's looking for the lead coming down the short chute into the tri-oval.
And he shut the door on the 79 of Monteferrante, who looked up top on the backstretch, and he said, no way. But now the 79 goes up. Does not have help for the moment. He'll pick it up in the form of Ford Martin. James Bickford darts to the inside of the racetrack. Monin Rahman back up to the top 5. And this race still controlled by Bailey Turner. And you're right, Darren. With the way these drivers have worked together, it looks like they are unstoppable at this stage, but Yancek tries to go by himself up top for the lead.
Yancek up top, and Monin Rahman really out of nowhere after those 2 quick incidences that involved him. He is back at it, down on the bottom, pushing those fast black race cars. And there, look who's 4th in the bottom line. Once again, that fast number 29 car of James Bickford, looking for his 4th win on the season down low here at Talladega as we approach the midpoint of this race.
And looking for another win in a row after taking the W at Chicagoland last Monday night. Finally, the outside gets a little bit of organization on their side. Yancek is starting to get a run in turns 1 and 2. On board with the Mach10 Digital Chevrolet of league owner Ford Martin, already up inside the top 5 or so. Going to get to the outside of Monin Rahman and look at the runoff of the corner, Darren. And that's something that we see a lot at the super speedways that somewhat we don't talk about as often because we're so used to seeing it happen. When you're on the inside and the outside, as here comes Monteferrante looking for the lead in turns 3 and 4. When you're on the top side in the corners, you don't have as big a run because the guys on the bottom had the shortest way around the racetrack. But right off of the banking is when you can get those monstrous runs. Right here at turn 4, you can get it going in the tri-oval. Same deal off of turn 2 on the back straightaway. So that's why you're seeing the outside catch up so quickly to those wrapping the bottom.
And it's a heck of a battle. I'm just watching Ford there leaving that outside lane and seeing if he's going to try to get a run now as well. Ford started way in the back of the pack and has consistently stayed out of trouble all night long. He's got help right now from Dakota Curtis, it looks like. And there's the 14 again of Corey Duzer, who just had an incident himself, spun down to the inside on the back straight, and he has marched back up solidly in the top 10, looking for more and heading to the top 5.
Looks like track position does not matter where you start, at least in terms of where you finish. You can easily get up to the front despite having a poor qualifying lap or even just a poor starting position at these super speedways. A little bit of a wiggle in the middle of the pack. That was Dakota Curtis who got out of shape right in front of the 6 of Matt Alverson. And we do have the top 16, Darren, all together within 0.7 of a second, all within a blanket. Now 3 wide, multiple rows deep. And And then you see that second pack led by Chase Cabrey in the 39.
And that's some names that we haven't said really all night long are the Cabrey brothers. They've been riding around back of the pack most of the night. I wonder if that's part of the strategy for those guys or if they are just not having the night that they wanted. As we go on board with Dale Earnhardt, currently 16th. But, you know, this is where he ran most of the night at Daytona as well to start off this summer series with the Superspeedway cars. As he is now looking down to the low side. But he ran mid-pack all night long and was a couple hundred yards away from winning that thing at Daytona about 6 weeks ago. So interesting to see the different strategies play out as, again, it's now Bailey Turner back in the lead with help from Matt Stolnick out front.
And crazy to think that that first race of the summer series, Darren, was 6 weeks ago. That was about a month or so ago, month and a half already.
I think it's something like that, right? Maybe it's only been a month. It just these races are just so good, and there's so much going on in them that we just jam-pack so much in. It might have only been a month ago, but it's been a while ago. Yeah.
And we started around mid to late June, already in late July. So definitely crazy to see how far time passes as we move forward in this series. You ride on board with the number 55 of Ronnie Osmer, who has picked up the main pack from 18th place. And it does look like with the way they've been racing, they allowed Chase Cabrey and company to start catching up. It's Cabrey, Sabile, Heim, Richie, Haupt, among those in a single file train back through the top 20. Now they're starting to get the draft off the back of these guys. So it looks like their run is quite not over yet as we approach this longest green flag run here. May just help them strategy-wise because they won't lose the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, as we see right there in that break shot just in front of Julian Ritchie, that the Hog Tamers guys have teamed back up. They've both been involved in multiple incidences tonight, but they're on the bumper of Chase Cabrey. And, again, these are big-name guys in the back of the pack that have had incidences tonight. So, but they're not out of it. They're still rolling around the track, rolling straight around the track, and everybody's got a shot at it, as it is Talladega.
Yeah, of course, and it looks like the Hog Tamer drivers did forgive each other for that incident entering turn 3. Just a little mistake between those two. They seem to be back up without a hitch. And the 81 of Dale Earnhardt trapped in the middle at around the top 18. Riding on board with Adam Boyles in the number 220 machine. Now he is all the way back. What appears to be the P5 spot, so actually not as far back behind the leaders as anticipated, but we're just looking around the mid-pack to try to find him. Boyles is there here right behind Bickford, but he's got a big run on the outside because here comes Joe Solo, driver of the 60.
As, again, we're watching those runs on the outside, and Joe Zolo, again, a name that we haven't called all night long, as he's going to dip down low in front of James Bickford with that great Syracuse Orangeman paint scheme. He's looking for more behind Ford Martin, as Ford is, again, another name that we've seen march consistently up through the field all night long, and is finally in a great position, running third behind Matt Stolnick. Again, though, we talk about the regulars here on Monday Night Racing, and again, we see them rise to the top, as Turner, Stolnick, Martin, Zolo are the top 4.
Stolnick and Martin are good friends and teammates, so you know they're going to work together well. You know they know each other's driving styles, and they have a lot of experience on the track in sim with each other, so they're just going to be as clean as possible. And obviously, with no runs on the outside to worry about, they're just going to be chilling, wrapping that yellow line at the bottom of the racetrack as they try to settle out the leader of that top side between Craig Yansack and what's now going to be the 51 of Cole Cabrey. Joe Zolo, Darren, had a tough race at Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, got involved in some incidents, and that bright orange Chevrolet Camaro did not see the light of day, but tonight could be the difference, up into 4th after starting in 20th place. What a race it's been for Joe Zolo tonight.
Great, and we're going to see if he can hold this all night long. You know, he had a great run going, as you said earlier this season, and just had some bad luck late. But he's showing that he belongs here at the Monday Night Racing Summer Series, running 4th here, mid-pack. He kept the nose clean all night long as we go on board with Decon once again in the 95, as he's looking for more on the low lane, running 8th right now.
Well, if he looks to the outside, he'll see the 30 of Michael Fisher, the 15 of Monin Rahman, the 25 of Lane Sabile. Now the outside is a bit more organized. And what they're doing, Darren, is they're side drafting the inside train. We didn't see that much in the early stage of tonight's Mach 10 Digital 250. Looks like Monin Rahman and company, they're going to take Fisher out of the conversation. So make Rahman the lead car on the outside for turn 1.
And just like that, we had been talking about these Hog Tamers guys working with Moan and Ramen all night long. They have all had incidences. We thought maybe they were out of it, and now they are back in it, looking for more on the high side as Bailey Turner puts out one of these cars another lap down. But we are shaping up for a great finish as we are now halfway through. A lot of the major players still involved in this one, and even the ones that have had contact with other cars or the wall are in contention once again. But you got to look at that 29 again as we're shuffling them around right at the top 10 mark. You got to look at that 29 car, James Bickford. He's kept the nose clean pretty much all night long. He's got the golden horseshoe, it seems like, at this point. 3 wins already on the season, and he has had them crashing around him all night long, and he's kept his car clean. Running 5th right now is James Bickford, and looking probably just to bide his time at this point and keep the noise clean on that Toyota.
I mean, that's definitely true. A beautiful Charlotte Phoenix Toyota Camry tonight. And part of that, Darren, is why Bickford has been so successful at these larger tracks. He's always clean when he needs to be. He doesn't put himself in risky situations. And even if he ends up in a tough spot, like let's say at Chicagoland, where he got involved in a couple of crashes near the back of the field, he somehow finds a way to pivot himself in the right direction, get himself in a nice spot where he can lead the race lane to going or find a way to win the race in the last lap or so. And then, of course, that's reason why he's got so many wins in this M&R Summer Series this year. That outside, Darren, though, continues to fall apart lap by lap by lap. It feels like they cannot find a convincing leader. Nobody's comfortable with being second or third in line. They keep breaking each other up, and part of that is making them lose a lot of time. That inside, a little more organized, and while they have been more stable, a lot less fun to watch, they've been faster.
It is less fun to watch, right? But it's necessary in this type of racing to just log some laps at some point, right? And compared to the Daytona race earlier this season, these guys are still just keeping a fairly clean race. I know we've had some incidences, but again, they are clicking off the laps, and that 2-hour limit on the end of the race is not going to come in play. We're looking to run 96 here tonight.
You're watching the outside still, roughly 3 wide, Lane Sabile working through the middle. He gets underneath Michael Fisher, and a look at the race leader, Bailey Turner, Matt Stallnick in second, Ford Martin in third, Joe Zolo fourth, and then James Bickford rounding out the top 5. There's the 25 of Zabile, who's had a really tough route so far. He's going to have the help from Michael Fisher, but really at this point, it's not doing much to get in closer to the front of the field. And I want to point out one car in this main pack, Darren Denman, and that is the 39 of Chase Cabry. He is currently 17th, now going to be 18th here as Michael Fisher goes by, but he, ever since being in that single file train, caught up to the field and hasn't done much. He hasn't gone to the outside, he hasn't made it 3 wide, he hasn't been super aggressive, he's just been here. Is that enough right now with 45 laps to go to hold on?
Absolutely. Not doing much is key at Talladega, right? If you're not doing much, you're keeping your nose clean, you're not getting involved. You know, you're not doing much. You might not be having a ton of fun either, but you're going to be there at the end. So I think it's just great for everybody right now to just log some laps as we go on board with DJ Cummings, as he brings and pulls him down the backstretch. He's another one that's just running mid-pack, has had a mostly quiet evening. He was involved in 1 caution. But again, like, we're just logging laps at this point. You're not going to win it with 44 to go. But what you do with 44 to go could absolutely take you out of this race and just make you disconnect for the night.
Yeah, but also as well, you think of it in the other token, right? When you go to 43 laps to go, you're going to set yourself up for strategy. You know there's a pit stop coming if you stay green throughout the entire race. You know that you're going to have these pack of cars around you when you come in. You might not have the same when you come out. The field's going to be very separated. So it's pivotal to just hang in and not be as chaotic now, but also could be important to set yourself up. Try to plan ahead, maybe 3 or so steps, and then think about what you're going to do for the rest of this race to try and position yourself in the right moment at the right time. Finally, Darren, we have a run by the outside that's worthy of note. They got themselves single file at the top side of the track, this time led by Cole Cabry. They're going to beat Craig Yansack, and it turns 3 and 4, and this is the best we've seen the outside in a very long while.
And it looks like that push from Turner to Yancek right there got him real sideways. The outside not able to take advantage of it, though, as Kid Cabry is falling back just a little bit. Those guys on the bottom just continue to log laps and work so well together. I know Yancek was able to drop down there in front of Bailey Turner. But again, that powerhouse bottom line of Martin, Stallneck, and Turner out front, to include even Joel Zolo running 5th now on the bottom line, working exceptionally well together. They've got a lock on that inside line, and it's unlikely they're going to give that up without a battle.
And look at the space between Matt Stallneck and Ford Martin, the cars 3rd and 5th. They really branched out from everyone else. There's a better look from Yancek's view. You look behind that 41 Ford Mustang, there's a lot of space between themselves and Martin. It's going to start to close up, obviously, but they had a lot of space there that they had to work with. Nobody dropped to the inside line. 51 of Cole Cabry now makes a move on the outside. Heartbreaking news on behalf of the 29. James Bigford faced internet connectivity issues, had packet loss in the race, and he is out of the Mach10 Digital 250.
What a tough break, right? What a tough break for James Bickford. He was looking for another one on the season, and just a bummer for him. He was in contention all night long. But then the strategy also comes into play for the guys left in this race. He was working so well on that bottom side, as now these guys have got to find another dancing partner as that bottom line continues to lose spots as the top side keeps putting their guys down low, to include Cole Cabry now leading this thing.
Well, it makes a little more sense why there was so much space between Stallneck and Ford Martin now that you think about it.
Absolutely.
Was filling that space. So as soon as he left with the internet connectivity issues, that's where the space came from. And that's where Ford Martin had to pick up the pace and try to get to the back bumper of the number 41. His teammate, the 14 of Corey Deucer, leading that outside. Alex Monteferrante in the 79 to help. Meanwhile, Cole Cabry leads this race with 40 laps to go. He's going to move up top and will actually give way to the leader. Is this a plan by design? Because Cabry probably doesn't want to waste all that much fuel.
I don't know that. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think that Yancek's really just got a good car working, was able to get the lead, and I don't think we're really worried about fuel at this point. I think at this point, these guys are just waiting for who is going to be the next caution to set up the fuel run and the pit stops for the end of the race. I know we've got every opportunity we've had, these guys have packed fuel into these things through the first half of this race, but now with 39 to go, I think at this point everyone is just trying not to be the caution that saves everyone's fuel strategy.
They are tiptoeing all over this Talladega Superspeedway. You look at the run out of turn 2, how many cars are on the inside versus the top. Malaysia Bile does have a good enough run to get to the leader. Those less drivers on the outside might play a factor a little later on in this race, especially given the fact that we are in one of our longest green flag runs of the night. We might expect some of these drivers to come in for some stops. Dakota Curtis is sitting in P7, driver out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, was a driver in the Monday Night Racing Pro Series last season, earlier this year, and part of last year. And look at him sitting P6. He raced at the, what was the Pocono Raceway? Actually, was not part of that, but he was the league owner in the Sunoco Cup Series race that we broadcasted last night at Pocono Raceway. And nice to see him running well inside the top 10.
Yeah, great run for him in the top 7 at this point. And again, these guys are just trying to keep it clean at this point. As much as we've seen that bottom line stick together, the top line keeps getting runs and pushing guys out there. But again, I just keep talking about logging laps. We saw rules implemented after Daytona. The fiasco, for lack of a better word, that was Daytona, with the amount of cautions and just generally reckless driving that we saw, as we see Leighton Sabile now battling back into the top 5 at this point. But after that Daytona race, I thought that this would be a much more caution-plagued race than what we're seeing. It really has not. The guys have driven a great race tonight, and even the guys that have been involved in incidences, for the most part, have been able to claw their way back up through. I saw Ronnie Osborne at one point even have to back it up on the backstretch to avoid a stopped car, and now he's back in the top 10, pushing Leighton Sabile as these guys continue their march to the front to recover from those cautions.
Well, don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. We've seen a lot of...
I'm knocking on wood. I'm literally knocking on wood.
Hopefully we cross our fingers And we pray to the racing gods that we see this race go green pretty much all the way to the end. Look at the run by Dakota Curtis there. Big push by the Toyota of Corey Heim. Talked about Heim in the 11, the Superspeedway points leader. Here's a look from Ronnie Osmer, the third car in line. A great recovery for him as well for being involved in one of the incidents earlier on this evening. He's going to be left for Dusto on the top side. He'll have a little while before he gets picked up by Monin Rahman. New race leader, Dakota Curtis. He brings Corey Heim with him, make it 1-2 between the Ford Mustang and the Toyota Camry. We move ourselves into 36, we're at 36, 35 laps to go here from Talladega Superspeedway. These drivers, Darren, are on their 24th and 25th lap on their set of fuel. So sooner than later, as this outside fizzles out, we're going to see some green flag stops. And now look at the outside, led by Ronnie Osmer. He's got the help this time from the 07 of Ford Martin, and surprisingly enough, nobody is going to the outside to block that run. It feels like they are way more confident in their ability holding the inside as opposed to trying to branch out, trying to go out into the realm of the second and third lanes. But it looks like it's going to work for the 55. And Ronnie Osmer gets to the front at Talladega in turn 1.
It's incredible to see what this outside line has been able to do. You know, we keep talking about the powerhouse that was that bottom of the 5, 41, and 15. They're still locked up. But the runs that the outside line has gotten have really broken that up. And now those guys, while they're still connected and have really done nothing wrong, have fallen back to the latter half of the top 10 as Rahman now in 10th. Ford Martin, though, still
Ford Martin still in second place right behind your leader, and you saw as that outside got the huge run to take away the lead. The 10 car, DJ Cummings, got left out for dust. The Westfield, New Jersey native has fallen back to around P7, so he found some space in between Craig Yansack and Bailey Turner, which also comes to my surprise that Bailey Turner, Matt Stolnick, has not been more aggressive. Maybe partially it could just be the fact that they are saving fuel. They want to make sure they play the strategy game first before they go all out for the race win. But they were so aggressive to start this race to get track position, and now it seems like they're letting everybody by them without a problem. They don't seem to be uncomfortable with drivers in front. They seem to be okay with it, telling them, hey, you can lead the race. We'll be back here hanging around by ourselves. We don't want anything to do with you guys for now. We're saving fuel. We're going to try to extend this race and make sure that our fuel strategy is not uncomfortable at the end, but rather comfortable by the checkered flag. His car down pit road, that's Brandon Brown, driver of the 12. Brandon Brown 2 laps down in 27th place. You see some of the damage on the right front. He did get involved in an incident at around turn 2 back straightaway. And one of our most recent cautions was around a 4 or 5 car incident. And Ronnie Osmer was also involved in that, where he had to hop on the brakes to avoid Brandon Brown. And now he's on the opposite spectrum in the race lead. Now look at who's pioneering to the front. That's Chase Cabry in the 39 out of a rocket. Help from Alex Monteferrante gets him to the lead. And after not seeing the Tampa, Florida native all night long, Chase Cabry, who hung around 17th for a while, finally gets a look at clean air at the front. At 79, Monteferrante is giving the push of his life. They're bringing in other Ford Mustangs, Michael Fisher in the 30, and the other Cabry in the 51. Top 4 break free of Ronnie Osmer, and they move to the race lead with 32 to go. Here's a look on board from Cabry, looking back at Monteferrante in the number 79, who unfortunately has not found a lot of luck at these super speedway races, nor has he found them at the Gen 4 races. He's had a pretty tough M&R summer season, but Monteferrante, much like many drivers in this league, are trying to pick things up and get their first win. Cabry, a bit of a block there, checks up the inside line, and as the outside has completely fizzled out, it looks like these drivers are ready for green flag stops. One of them's already coming in. That's the 23 Dakota Curtis. It looks like that's a solo call. Never mind, going to be joined by the 95 of Dylan Connolly. So the Alpha Prime Camaro going to join him there. Rest of the field is going to stay out one more lap. And this stop should get them to the end. These drivers have reached it around lap 30. Now here comes a plethora of more drivers. Make that Taylor Burris, Landon Polinsky, the 97 of Julia Ritchie. Looks like Mark Rabilis in the 99. The 11 of Steve Alfont. Brandon Houff in the 9 car, Josh Late in the 01. They're all going to come in at the back half of the field. Look on board with Ford Martin sitting in P6.
And Ford's been able to maintain his position here in the top 10 through all of this all night long, as he's a little bit of a gap there. Great opportunity for him here to pit, but where we see him slow that 07 down, and we do, is Ford's going to peel off out of 6, hit pit road here with 31 to go.
And Joe Zolo going to follow him in the number 60. Much like Dakota Curtis and Connolly, they're going to be the first 2 in. They're going to have nobody else join them. So rather interesting here as Chase Caber loses the lead. Alex Monteferrante in the 79 just got by with help from Michael Fisher. Now, this is a unique situation, Darren, because we've got the field so separated. Very odd from what we saw a little bit earlier on in this race, and that will affect how these drivers come in and out of pit road. We're seeing 2-car tandems come in. Our largest group was all the way at the back of the field. How separated are we going to see these main guys come in this time by, or even next time by?
Man, and you know, the green flag pit stops really aren't that common of a thing here in Monday Night Racing, so the skills of these drivers is really going to come into play, especially at Talladega, where one little mistake, what is the key term, you know, a second a lap, or a second in the pits is 100 yards on the racetrack. Like, these guys are going to have to be precision with 30 laps to go, or they're just going to take themselves right out of this thing, as we see a lot of the leaders on pit road.
And also, when you're in your first round of green flag pit stops, you got to make sure that brake pedal is dialed in, because the last thing you want to have happen is get a pit road speeding penalty, and then your race is pretty much dust if there are no cautions to come out. Cole Cabry and many others in. Alex Monteferrante already coming out. Michael Fisher with a really quick stop, so he's going to get ahead of these guys, rather, as Adam Boyles is going to lead this race, followed by Corey Heim, Lane Sabile, Monin Rahman, and Corey Deucer inside your top 5. It looks like, yeah, this field severely disjointed with all the pit stops that happened, and Ryan Bauer just asking if Corey Deucer missed the pits. It looks like he did. We'll try to get a replay, Darren, but a little bit of chaos there as the 14 trying to make a stop.
Yeah, I mean, there's just chaos all over the place, right? Internet connections tonight are chaos. The racing is chaos. The pit stops are chaos. To be fair, though, we said this was going to be chaos at the beginning of the night, maybe for not the reasons we just listed, but we're still seeing chaos, as it looks like Michael Fisher is coming around the track. He is going to peel off who would have been the current leader, as it looks like the pit stop cycle is going to be wrapping up here shortly. I guess that's still the 20 of Joseph Gregory still on track, as he is down into 1, but Corey Heim now listed as the leader in the 11. He's going to lose the lead now to Monteferrante, as the shuffle still continues here with 28 to go at Talladega.
And these Fords have been really strong. We saw these 3 manning up a charge to the front with Michael Fisher and company, and now all 3 of them are leading this race. The 4th car in line is Craig Yansack, a couple of seconds behind these guys. He only has help by Ronnie Osmer in the 55, but then here comes Corey Heim, Adam Boyles, Ford Martin, Joe Zolo, Bailey Turner, the biggest group at around the back half of the top 10. So as they work together, they're going to be faster than your top 3 leaders. As here's a look from Cummings. Bailey Turner with a really sketchy push to Zolo, got him sideways out of turn 4.
Boy, and DJ has just been having a heck of a race tonight. He really has. Yeah, involved in that earlier caution, as we've documented a couple times. But right up here, once again, in the top 10, and looking for more as he's on the bumper of Bailey Turner as they dump Zolo. Zolo's going to lose a handful of positions, now losing another one to Dale Tanhart. Corey Heim goes by, and he is all alone on the top side. Let's see if he can recover. Now Turner steps out of the line to look for the lead once again, and Bailey Turner has had such a dominant car tonight as he tries to pass the Cabry boys up front for the lead.
Well, I mentioned a little earlier, Darren, before green flag pit stops, that I was surprised to see that Bailey Turner and Matt Sonic were not as aggressive in that run. They just let a bunch of drivers get in front, and they did not have anything to say about it. But now, right off of the green flag stops, they know they can make it to the end on fuel. So now is the threshold that they have passed. They say to themselves, all right, we've got our stop done. We've checked that box. Now the last one is to go out and win the damn thing. So they're going to go out and try and do it. They are slowly catching up to the top 3. That last time by, Turner set a 49.660, and the leader of this race, Monteferrante, set a 50.156. These guys are on their way
And we're looking right now at the Cabri boys running second and third. And again, we'll emphasize that Chase Cabri started shotgun on the field, running second right now. And holy cow, what a run for them as they now running second and third here at Talladega. We talked earlier, and I was actually thinking earlier, they weren't really a part of the conversation for so long. And now here, when the money laps start ticking by, they're running second and third and pushing Alex up front here at Talladega. Alex, for that part, too, started 32nd on the field. So those guys that did not have great qualifying runs started at the back of the pack, making their names known here tonight. As you now see the back of the pack coming to the screen, Bailey Turner leading that pack and looking to catch these guys out front with 25 to go.
Yeah, you're right, Darren. That was a great point you made on behalf of the top three, that they all started deep in this field and they all have a shot to win in the last leg of this Mach10 Digital 250. Monteferrante started 32nd. Cole Cabri started 22nd. And Chase Cabri was one of only two drivers, him and Matt Alberson, to not put a time in qualifying. Started all the way at the back of the field, and they now lead this race. On board with DJ Cummings, who is the second car behind Bailey Turner, this time by another huge gain for the second pack of cars. Bailey Turner with a 49.889, your leader at a 50.163, so they are closing in rapidly. And look who's the fourth car in this single file train, Darren Denman. Is that a familiar Dale Tanhart? Yes, it is.
Dale Tanhart, once again, his second appearance here in the Summer Series, and he is again putting on a great run. We talked about the Daytona race that he ran. He was not a factor until the very end. He's looking to run that same style of race where he started in the back of the pack. He ran mid-pack all race, and he was just smart and clean throughout the evening, and it resulted in a second-place finish, and he was leading that thing again until about 100 yards before the start-finish line. So Dale Tanhart in the 81, one of the cars to watch here over these last 23 laps.
I'm convinced he's a guru at these super speedways, because between Daytona and tonight, it looks like he has done so much magic out on the racetrack for his own good. That 81 car, got to keep an eye on that Chevrolet as we move forward to the end of this race. Tanhart, one of the hosts as part of our coverage of the Season 6 Pro Series finale at Homestead of Miami Speedway. Had a lot of fun on the Podium 2 side of things with Darrell Waltrip, the guest commentator and analyst on that broadcast. It was so fun, and actually got to meet Tanhart at Daytona International Speedway for the 500 this year, so really cool to meet them. And Dale Tanhart, we'll keep an eye as he is 7th. Here's a look from the leaders. Chase Cabri in the 39, third car in line. They are picking up two more Ford Mustangs ahead, but they are about to go a lap down. Michael Fisher and Corey Deucer. That 14 we mentioned had a problem as he was coming in, got hit by Monin Raman. Him and Fisher just separated from the rest of the pack, and their race has almost been torn to shreds, but the gap is starting to close down more. Bailey Turner slowly inching in 1.4 seconds.
It's just a matter of time at this point until these front three, now 5 with the lap cars in there, get caught. But, it's something to watch. And again, it just goes to the great strategy. This is not the race we expected to see. At least it's not the race I expected to see, Kenneth. Like, this has been a significant green flag run, and the strategies have really come into play on this one as well. Bailey Turner, we've seen the dominant cars out of the Turners and the Cummings and the Stolneks of the world. But we're looking for just a heck of a battle over these last 20 laps as they are finally there. Bailey Turner and that second pack has caught them as those front three have had trouble getting around the lap cars into a 1 and 2, and it is anybody's race at this point. It is on from here on out.
And they were 3 wide, Darren, for the lead. I'm not sure why they were doing that. Monteferrante was on the inside, Cole Cabri in the middle, Chase Cabri was all the way at the top. They were 3 wide, losing all that time further to Bailey Turner and company. Monteferrante is going to stay in the lead, but for the other Cabris, they just got shuffled out of line on the top lanes. I'm not sure what happened there.
Cole is all the way back out of the top 10 at this point, so I don't know if it was just a misplaced move or what, but both of the Cabri boys now still hooked up with each other, but way in the back of the pack as they look to regroup and get a run going with, it looks like, Ford Martin on the outside.
Yeah, no, the good news is that they're back together, and they will be able to get a chance at the front. They've got Michael Fisher with them, and a fellow teammate, it appears. They have all been working fluently with each other all night from Talladega Superspeedway, but that was so odd to see them 3 wide for the lead when they knew they were losing time going single file. to that second pack of cars that was hard charging with Bailey Turner at the forefront spearheading that effort. And so it looks like they're going to be saved for now, and Monteferrante is going to stay in the lead. But Darren, as we approach 19 laps to go, the top 2 cars in this race are not lead lap machines. Corey Deucer and Michael Fisher are set to go a lap down. Both of them are 25th and 26th on the track, but they're playing a factor in this race at the end.
Yeah, they're leading the packs right now, but again, ladies and gentlemen, those cars that are second in line right now are actually battling for the lead, and maybe that bobble by the Cabri boys has got them the success that they need and the run that they need, as now Chase Cabri takes the lead on the outside in that purple car, second in line on the high side.
It doesn't look like he's in the race lead because Fisher and Deucer are in front, but indeed that 39 car does have control of this Mach10 Digital 250 from Talladega Superspeedway. It looks like Monteferrante so far has no response, but he'll get the draft off of Corey Deucer. This is also going to help with fuel strategy, Darren, because as long as these lap cars stay in front of these guys, if we get, let's say, a green-white checkered attempt to the finish, multiple attempts at overtime, these guys will have enough fuel in the bank because they're just hanging in the draft, and they can afford to lay out the throttle a little bit more.
Yeah, this is actually a perfect thing. If we could set this up in real life, we could have just like blockers and passers and fuel burners and not. But I don't think these leaders are going to be content to run for long, even though they are racing for the lead. They want to dictate their own outcomes, and they want to be out front. At least that's how I would want to handle that thing, as it looks like Chase Cabri, I thought he was going to set up a pass there, but he maintains the second place on the outside line and the lead in this race.
And you'd imagine that Bailey Turner, DJ Cummings, Matt Stolnick, among those that are on the inside, they're probably not going to be content either, just riding around here behind Monteferrante and a lap car. They want to be sure they've got clean air and they've got the front couple of positions, but they don't have any space. They haven't had any to maneuver so far, and they've just not been able to do anything up until this point. It'll be 17 laps to go here from Talladega Superspeedway, fresh off the green flag stops. Everybody all together. The leaders cross the line for 13 laps on their stint of fuel. On board with Cabri as Monteferrante makes a challenge to the inside. We're door to door for the lead again out of turn 2.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to emphasize the cars that are 1 and 2 on the track are not 1 and 2 in the race. They are on the tail end of the lead lap. So that battle is between the second cars in line. That's the purple car of Chase Cabri and the black car of Alex Monteferrante down low, as the battle continues to rage in one of the oddest races that I've really ever seen, one of the oddest battles for the lead that I've really ever seen. As we go on board with Bailey Turner, who is currently 4th but running 3rd down low on the inside line.
Still looking for his first Monday Night Racing career champion, or rather win, not championship, so also championship, but win in this series overall. Chase Cabri looking for his first win in a while since season number 6. Monteferrante looking for his first win. Cole Cabri looking for his first win. And I remember we talked to Cole Cabri last week at Chicagoland Speedway, and it felt like he's been knocking on the door quite a bit, but the luck hasn't fallen his way, especially at these larger tracks there. And you look at Atlanta Motor Speedway, our past super speedway race, he ran well in the beginning, but then at the end, he just got involved in incidents and things did not work out for him at all. Tonight could be the game changer.
We keep talking about looking for first wins, and really the only one with now James Bickford out of the race that could spoil that for a first-time winner, at least here in the Summer Series, is Corey Heim, running 8th, 9th at this point, down there about the 5th or 6th car in line on the inside. But again, he's even in contention, has some contact with the outside wall, not of his doing earlier in the race. But again, we are looking at very likely a first-time winner here in the Monday Night Racing Summer Series later on tonight. Who will it be? We've got 15 laps to figure that out.
Still a big question mark, and also another question mark is, will anyone take it 3 or 4 wide? Everyone's too wide right now with around 15 laps to go. As soon as we get within 10, maybe 5 left in this race, who is going to extend the invitation to go 3 wide either through the middle or on the top? We've seen it aggressively earlier on in this race, Darren, so we probably could expect to see it once they stay green late in the going. Who's it going to be? We don't know, but there are a couple of candidates in the middle of this first pack.
A lot of great candidates. I mean, you could really see any one of these guys pulling off the win here tonight. I mean, I keep looking at Bailey Turner. He's been dominant all night long, at least through that green flag run in that black number 5 car. But now with the Cabri boys hooked up on the outside, you know, they've got that brotherly love thing going on, right? And the brotherly love thing might be even more powerful than the draft here at Talladega. So we'll have to see how this works out. To pick her a winner at this point, to even think about picking a winner at this point, though, a little bit crazy, though, because it is Talladega on Monday Night Racing.
Yeah, not sure at all. You mentioned brotherly love, and it's a brotherly love between the Cabri brothers. I think that's going to immediately wash away when we get to the last couple of laps and they're in contention for the win, because Cabri's still going to want a W. So does Cole Cabri. So does everybody else. So I don't think the love's going to be spreading anywhere throughout the field here at Talladega. The lap cars are still in front of the leaders, coming 13 laps to go. And it's still Michael Fisher and Corey Deucer at the front, but they are battling for the 25th position. Mind you, they are not in contention for this win unless a caution comes out. They can rejoin everybody at the back of the longest line. They are 3 wide near the back end of this first pack. Joe Zolo is on the outside there of Corey Heim. And guess who makes it 3? Darren Denman, Corey Heim, top side on Craig Yansack.
He's just going to keep marching right after the frustrations at Pocono on Saturday. He could be getting a little bit of a redemption win here on Monday Night Racing and spoil that first-time winner that we were just talking about. But he has got a little bit of work cut out for him. They could get shuffling here at the very end, but on the outside behind Ronnie Osmer, the lead is there. He can sniff it, but he just can't grab it at this point. Does Corey Heim in the 11.
But he's going to gain a spot, and that's good news. But the bad news is that he does not have his teammate for Hog Tamers, Lane Sabile, who was trapped in 20th place. And the third Hog Tamers car that they've been working with all night long is the number 15, Amonin Rahman. He's also in 21st. So it looks like the all-by-himself motive here for Corey Heim. The next man up in Talladega, but look at them 3 wide as they go through the middle. It looks like Ronnie Osmer in the 55, the Dude Wipes Mustang, makes it all the way at the top, but nobody's going to join him. So he's going to get trapped on the top. And it looks like he'll drop back to the first pack.
There's another one for Heim now behind the Cabri boys there. 4th in line on the outside, 3rd in the running order on the outside. Just picking them off methodically is Corey Heim sniffing the lead once again here at Talladega.
Corey Heim slowly getting closer, and for these guys in front, especially the Cabri brothers, you do not want to see that 11 get to you. And Heim is trying. He went up to the outside on the 51, now looking at a crossover and a bit of contact, but the 51 of Cabri shuts the door.
Lock the door, and still he's looking as now Cole's pushed out, forced to look low on his brother, and they're shoving him down the backstretch at Daytona. Cole laying back just a little bit now, holding up the charge by the 11. Great racing once again. It's hold your breath racing, and it is hold your breath time as the pay window is now open as we come to 10 to go at Daytona. Heim gets to the outside, and now looking for more. He dips to the inside on the Cabri boys.
And the Monteferrante machine goes sideways. Got hooked by Bailey Turner, the 79. The innocent bystander as Corey Heim leads him to 9 laps to go.
What a move by the 11. He came from 8th, or really like running 8th, right? And with the lap cars there, and he now leads this thing. He was able to finally break that up. We questioned how they could do it, and he has done it.
Heim is around, back straightaway, in front of the field. Caution is out.
Wow. Just wow, as we're watching the replay of his charge from 8th on the field to the front, and he is now backwards on the backstretch at Daytona.
And he was turned by the number 51 of Cole Cabri, as this is what happened. Corey Heim tried to move 3 wide, they hip checked each other, and then this is the incident that sent Corey Heim fully around. Cole Cabri wanted nothing of this 11 car at the front, and that's how Heim was able to win in Atlanta a couple of weeks back there, and if you remember that race. And then right about here, Cole Cabri just goes to the bottom, and that's enough contact to get the 11 out of shape. Nobody else gets involved, thankfully, and the 11 avoids any damage, but
yeah, easy spin.
Spun on the racetrack, and iRacing throws the caution.
A super easy spin, though, for Heim, and to be honest, with 9 to go, he's not out of it. They're probably going to see a lot of cars pit here, but we're going to have to wait and see when they come back around to pit in to see what the strategy is here with 9 to go.
So it has separated the Cabri brothers, so Cole's going to be leading the race. Chase Cabri is going to be back and forth. Craig Yansack in second, Matt Stolnick in third. Ronnie Osmer in 5th place, Joe Zolo in 6th, DJ Cummings 7th, Ford Martin 8th, 9th place to the number 81 of Dale Tanhart, and Adam Boyles. What a race he's had tonight in his number 220 machine, who started 24th. He's now 10th place. Bailey Turner as well, though, Darren, was also an innocent bystander in that Corey Heim attempt at 3 wide, because as the 79 went sideways, it was right in front of the 5 car. So checked him up near the apron, dropped him back through the field, and as the pace car brings the field to the entrance of pit road, we are going to wonder who's going to come in. Matt Stolnick appears to be going.
Nope.
He's going to fake out. Looks like that's Ronnie Osmer in the 55, though. Confirmed call. And so is Dale Tanhart.
Yeah, so what is that, about 10th on back, with the exception of Osmer, gonna come down to pit road. Just another layer in this story. Will these tires, I presume everyone's going to be taking some tires here as well to make this pit stop worthwhile, to maybe charge back up through the field here in the late going.
It should also be to top off on fuel to prepare for possible green-white checkered attempts. We do have multiple of those available to us if we extend this race in just a couple of moments. So leader Cole Cabre here with around 7 laps to go, and we'll see exactly when we get back to green flag racing. It should be, I think, within 5 laps to go, so we should be clear of green-white checker attempts for now, but if we get a caution after that, then sure as much we're going to be into overtime in just a moment. Let's talk to the driver who's in 5th place. That is the number 60 machine of Joe Zolo. And Joe, Atlanta Motor Speedway, I'm sure you wanted to forget about that one. It was a bit of a rough race. Tonight, though, it's been a completely different one. You've been running up at the front, putting up some great stuff with these guys. Now looking for a race win of your own. What are you feeling anxiety-wise, emotionally? Well, what's going through your head at this stage?
I'm pretty nervous right now. It might be kind of close on fuel here, but I mean, we're up front. I try to run up front, stay up front, so people can recognize my name, work with me, and so far it's worked.
It definitely has. You've gained a lot of respect for those around you. But now here, I mean, you've looked at 3 wide, 2 wide action. There was a long green flag run, green flag pit stops through there as well. What was it like for you to try and position your car in the right place at the right time and make sure that, let's say, right here, right now, you're in this 5th place position?
Man, be honest with you, I just try to predict like which line's moving, you know, who to follow. Like I recognize some names in here I worked with at Atlanta and worked out pretty well. Just trying to see who's around me, see who I think I can work the best with, and it's worked.
All right, so we're going to be in a restart. Single-digit laps to go. You're in 5th place. What are you going to try to do to get your first ever Monday Night Racing win?
Oh, man. What did Tony Stewart say in 2011? I might wreck my grandma to win championships. We might see. I don't know.
All right, well, you're in a great position right now, Joe. We wish you the best of luck inside the next couple of laps to go. Go get him out in the restart.
Thanks, guys.
As Joe Zolo, driver of the 60, had a huge fan base last time. We saw him out on track, and somebody on Twitch chat just said, finally a Joe interview. Nice to talk to Joe Zolo, one of the rookies here in this Monday Night Racing Summer Series. We'll see if we can get another driver in. It might be Ronnie Osmer in the number 55, who did come down to pit road, but it appears that we do have drivers door to door, so it looks like we are going to get a restart in just a couple of moments. Let's bring in the driver of the 55 in Ronnie Osmer and try to pick his brain a bit about the strategy that he just employed. Ronnie, you came down pit road about a lap or 2 ago. What was the strategy there?
It was going to be close on fuel, and traditionally with us on Superspeedways, we normally have some green-white checkered, so I wanted to play it safe. I didn't lose many positions, so could be in a good spot.
Trying to give yourself some extra insurance to the end. I saw you go 3 wide there. Nobody went with you, unfortunately, but are you expecting 3 wide here now that we're within about 6 laps to go?
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we were 4 wide, if I could be honest.
All right, well, Ronnie, we know that the green flag is coming up in just a little bit. We appreciate the time, as always, and best of luck when we get the green flag. So that is Ronnie Osmer, driver of the 55. Gotta love his setup there in sim, and the Dude Wipes Ford Mustang. Always nice colors and schemes out of Ronnie Osmer, who's going to be 10th on this restart. Cole Cabre is going to lead this race. Craig Yansack on the outside of row 1. Matt Stolnick Chase Cabry third and fourth, Joe Zolo to round out the top 5. Then it's DJ Cummings, Ford Martin, Adam Boyles, Bailey Turner, and then, like we said, the number 55 of Ronnie Osmer. Green flag restart with 6 laps to go in this Mach10 Digital 250 from Talladega Superspeedway. They'll make the anxiously long wait to the restart zone with Cole Cabry in control. Green flag back in the air.
With 6 to go, Kenneth, would you even be brave enough to pick a winner at this point? There's so many different strategies and so many different things that happen. Are you brave enough to even do that? Because I'm not. It's anybody's race at this point. As we see Yancek on the back bumper of Cole Cabry pushing him through 1 and 2.
Yeah, cannot pick a winner at this stage of the race because all types of patience have been thrown out the window. Here comes Chase Cabry with that big run. Joe Zolo giving in the push down the back straight away. It's not good enough to get them to the top 3, but it might be a nice setup inside. 5 laps to go. We are 3 wide near the back end of the pack. Cole Cabry going to lead them out of turn 4.
Boy, and everybody's aggressive right now. We saw that great green flag run that got us to this point so quickly in the evening, and now everyone is all over as it looks like in the back of the pack. That's Corey Heim coming to pit road as Cole Cabry continues to lead. Now 5 to go at Talladega.
Corey Heim looks like he's going to take himself out of contention for this race win, and he is going to take it down pit road. That outside still trying to find their momentum, but they have not been able to get a good look at it. Cole Cabry is going to lead them cleanly out of turn 2. Does Craig Yansack make a move? Looks like he does to block the 41, and it looks like he chops the 41's nose. Around he goes. No caution. We're 3 wide for second.
And now the Cabry boys are going to be side by side in 3 and 4 for the lead, and that's Ronnie Osmer with the fresh set of fuel and tires on the outside looking for more too. But then it's the Cabry boys, Cole and Chase, leading them into the dogleg at Talladega for the lead. Chase comes out with the lead. Matt Stolnick on his back bumper.
Playing chess at 192 miles an hour. Matt Stolnick to the outside of the race leader. 4 to go into turn 1.
Boy, all that patience we saw. Stolnick gets sideways. Zolo spins him. He's into the field, and everyone is around. Turner's in it. Stolnick's in it, and like I said, it is everybody at this point.
It is the big one at Talladega that strikes, and Matt Stolnick gets hit by Joe Zolo, and that's what kicks it all off. There's a look at the typical sportsbook Ford Mustang, and we are headed into overtime. As here's the 60 of Zolo pushing the 41 to the lead.
A great run right there. The 41 is going to get to the outside of Chase Cabry here. Is able to lead it, but barely at the stripe, and then that push came from way far back. It looked like even Bailey Turner got into Zolo and pushed him out, but now Joe Zolo, who we just talked to, is in the lead, going to the green-white checkered finish at Talladega.
It looks like no fault of Zolo there. I mean, he got a big run. He was going to push that 41, and the 5-car Turner was right behind, so he gives the push right about the same time over to the 60, hits the back bumper of the 41 at an odd angle. And Darren, we mentioned those curved rear bumpers on these next-gen cars. If you misalign them, it's going to be easy to spin one in front of you around. So that's what happens with the 60 and the 41, who goes right back up the track into Bailey Turner, then getting into Ronnie Osmer. They got the 95 of Dylan Connolly, a bunch of others as well. Here's Ford Martin, who found a way to get through it.
It looks like Ford got through it, and it looks like Dale Tanhart is going to be able to get through this fairly unscathed as well. I don't think he made any contact right now. So at this point, we're talking about who made it through, and there are some major players still left at the front of this thing. And Joe Zolo, again, leading this, looking for his first career win.
Looks like that interview gave him some good luck. Joe Zolo going to be leading this race. Here's a look from Dale Tanhart right in the middle. Oh, man, it does not get closer than that. He barely avoided that 41.
That's not even talent at that point. That is just pure luck for the 81 to get through that. A lot of lucky guys out there, a lot of unlucky guys out there, but they're ones that are left at the front of the field. They've got the golden horseshoe, as we talked about earlier tonight.
There's Decon, one of the unlucky drivers in this incident, who goes hard into the outside wall. Monin Raman in the middle of that. Looks like some more slid to the infield grass. As there's the 5 and the 55. And they both get some damage off of the big crash. There's Lane Sabile in the 25. Hog Tamers were trying to make a move. They lost Corey Heim in the race, but then they just get stacked up at the top, and there's nowhere to go.
Well, I know that I know that Colin Fern will disagree with me, but I really like being on the inside in these situations. You can at least turn left and spin that thing out, or cut left and go through the grass if you need to get out of a situation like that. And it looked like that really played out once again for those guys. That top lane got all bound up into the wall, and some of those guys on the low line were able to maneuver out of that. Maybe a little bit of luck there involved as well, but maybe a little bit of foresight too to be on the bottom lane and give yourself an out route.
Man, if Colin Fern was in the booth right now, he would have ripped you to shreds.
I know.
For Saint.
I mean, that's fair. He might anyway. He might track me down and just anyway, right?
Well, it looks like we are going to attempt another restart. This time into overtime. Joe Zolo, the leader. Cole and Chase Cabry, second and third. Dale Tanhart, fourth. DJ Cummings rounding out the top 5. And man, this race has been absolutely insane. At least up until this point, we've had so many characters at the front, so many different types of packs working together, bits of strategy in the middle of the race, and it's all going to come down to 2 laps to settle it. Let's talk to the driver who's in P5, and that is DJ Cummings in the 10. First of all, welcome DJ to the booth, and you've had a really good race so far tonight. Really good placement overall, really good drafting help all across the racing surface. Now, you've got a 2-lap to go restart. But what's the mindset moving forward here?
Well, yeah, first off, after that, just that wreck, we were able to luckily get all of our damage repaired. I think it was like 3.5 minutes worth of optionals. We were able to get that cleared up. We were able to get back to the front, and then when we got that long run, I got hooked up with Matt and Bailey, and we were able to do some good stuff there. It was an awesome green flag run, and I think the plan here is just hold on tight, and if the lanes are there, we'll see if we can get ourselves set up, but feeling pretty good about it. We'll just question is just going to be who makes the move, and where's the bad block or the bad shove going to come. So we'll just find out. We'll just find open track where we can, and I'm feeling pretty good here being outside of the second row, but we shall see. This race is always it's always a wild card. You always feel like you're going to be in the best spot at the end, and then you either get hit or you get shoved into the wall, and you don't end up being where you are. So we'll see. Feel pretty good.
Well, that's true. We know you've got to win at a Superspeedway in your M&R career, so we know how good you are in these late stages of a race. But the other question I'll toss to you is about strategy. We saw that you were clutching and coasting there. Do you think you have enough fuel to make it all the way to the end, or right now under caution is this to just get you a couple of more drops and to get you a little safer?
It's just a couple more drops right now. I'm 6.5 laps to the good, so hopefully this is the only green-white checker we have, and we don't got to worry about it anymore. But was just playing the cards right and just saving on the last few yellows just to keep ourselves in good shape. But I think I could do 2 green-white checkers, 3. We're gonna be pushing it, but we'll see. But hopefully it's just 1. But pretty good on it right now for fuel, so we'll see. Feeling pretty good.
All right, feeling pretty good here in a solid position. DJ, we certainly appreciate the time. Best of luck on this overtime restart.
Thank you.
So that's DJ Cummings, driver of the 10 machine. And we do have 3 green-white checkered attempts to end this race here from Talladega Superspeedway. Here's how things will go. We'll get this restart now with 2 to go. If the leader does not get to the white flag before caution comes out, then we will have another restart. We'll do it all over again. If the leader does get to the white, this race is official no matter what. And if we exhaust all 3 attempts at overtime, whoever's the leader at the very last caution is going to be decided the winner. Hopefully we don't end up there, and hopefully this is our only attempt with Joe Zolo, the rookie, and Cole Cabry looking for their first ever M&R wins. It's an early jump by Zolo. Green flag in overtime.
Oh, and he gets out to a big, that looks like too much of a jump at this point. I did not see the green flag waving, so we'll have to see what the race officials say about that. But Zolo now down to the inside anyway. He's going to be given the positions back because we are going to have a lead change anyway, going through 1 and 2. And it is Cole Cabry on the outside with Dale Tanhart on the inside with help from the 22.
The 22 of Adam Boyles pushing Tanhart to the front, and look who's third on the inside lane. Joshua Slate in the 01. And man, we haven't talked about all night long, but the Ashland, Virginia native has a shot to win in the turns 3 and 4.
Adam Boyles, we talked about him earlier with the great run all night long, and now he is pushing the 81 to the lead. We are coming to the white. Let's keep it clean, boys, and get this one done right here. We've got quarter of a mile to go to get to the start-finish line. Is now Cabry on the outside, battling back with help from DJ Cummings as they take it to the stripe. Cole Cabry with the lead.
Cole Cabry has the position to the white flag, and it turns 1 and 2 for the final time. Tanhart tries to block the run from Adam Boyles, but he's going to get trapped in the sucker hole. Cole Cabry with free, clean air on the backstretch.
But DJ Cummings with the run and a push from behind from Burris in the 45. Names we haven't called all night long, helping to determine this one. As DJ Cummings looking for any sort of push, as Cole Cabry in the 51 leads him into 3, and we got him spinning into 3.
Adam Boyles chopped the nose of Taylor Burris. It's only 2 cars left. DJ Cummings and Cole Cabry at the exit of turn 4 to the triangle for the final time. Cummings pushing the 51. He ducks out of line. Cabry tries to block. Cummings to the bottom, but Cole Cabry gets his first Monday Night Racing win from Talladega.
Great finish there from Cole Cabry, veteran driving from DJ Cummings, and look who came home third with another great finish. That's Dale Tanhart rounding out the podium. Bailey Turner with 4th.
It looked like Cummings made the move too late. Cabry made the block, and that was enough to keep the NASCAR Ford Mustang at bay. Here's a look at the run out of the final corner. There's nobody behind these guys, Darren, as Taylor Burris and Adam Boyles made contact entering turn 3. See, Cummings tries it. He does the crossover, but he does not have momentum, and he does not have help. Cole Cabry single-handedly to the line, wins at Talladega.
Great win for the Cabry boys. Great win for Cole. First win of the summer series for him, as we are going to be looking for a heck of a celebration out of the 51. Great finish.
And we talked to him last week after the top 3 finish at Chicagoland with the Gen 4 cars, where he finished in 2nd place, and he said that my luck hasn't been as good on super speedways. He talked about Daytona and Atlanta not really going his way, but finally the 51 breaks through, and Cole Cabry wins the Mach10 Digital 250, and the Ford Mustang can celebrate. I mean, what a race that he put up all night long. Started in 22nd, and he was one of the first drivers to move all the way up to the front and have no fear in it. And the 51 deservedly celebrates with his first career Monday Night Racing win.
Yeah, great run for him. You know, they were in contention all night long, and really he's been in contention a lot this season, as you just brought up, Kenneth. So great to see Cole get the win. I know it's going to be big for him, and looking forward to talking to him in the post-race.
So Cole Cabry wins the Mach10 Digital 250. Post-race coverage on the other side here on Podium Esports. Don't go anywhere.
Mach 10. Let's give Mach 10.
You're clear for takeoff.
FrontStretch.com, providing up-to-date news, analysis, and commentary on all the latest in the world of motorsports. Check out Front Stretch YouTube page for post-race content after the checker flag waves for most NASCAR events, giving you up-close interviews with your favorite drivers and the stories that matter each weekend. For the best seat of the track and the best view on the web, visit FrontStretch.com. frontstretch.com, providing up-to-date news, analysis, and commentary on all the latest in the world of motorsports. Check out Front Stretch YouTube page for post-race content after the checker flag waves for most NASCAR events, giving you up-close interviews with your favorite drivers and the stories that matter each weekend. For the best seat of the track and the best view on the web, visit frontstretch.com.
The Mach10 Digital 250 from Talladega comes to a close, and for Cole Cabry, it's his first ever Monday Night Racing Summer Series win. Started 22nd, but found his way to the checkered flag first. DJ Cummings tried a last-ditch effort move in the tri-oval, but it did not come to fruition. However, he does come home in the second place position. Dale Earnhardt comes home on the podium, a little bit short of the race win, but still a great finish, starting 31st on the race. So what a move up through the field it was for him. Bailey Turner, aggressive and fast all night long, but he comes home in 4th. Matt Stallneck in the 41 machine rounds out the rest of the top 5. Ford Martin behind him, good friend in P6. P7 goes to the Hog Tamer Toyota Camry of Monin Raman, who we saw a lot of strong moments out of tonight. Mark Rabillas wrecked a little bit earlier on in the race, but came back for an 8th place finish. Julian Ritchie in the number 97 is 9th, and Steve Alfont in the 54. Darren rounds out the top 10.
And Brandon Houff in the 9, after leading early, was only able to claw his way back up to 11th. Leighton Sabile had a battle all night long. He's going to bring the 25 home in 12th. Landon Polinsky, not a name we've talked about a lot tonight, comes home in 13th. Joe Zolo leading into the green-white checkered, jumps the restart, falls back to 14th. Taylor Burris in the 45, 15th. Corey Doozer 16th. Dakota Curtis in the 23 is in 17th. And Chase Cabry coming home in 18th. Greg Jansak, who we saw leading late as well, 19th. And the 20 position goes to Adam Boyles, who got spun late in the going out of second place.
Dakota Curtis appears to be 21st. Craig Jansak, we see him there 22nd. Chase Cabry in the 39. Tough break near the end, comes home in 23rd. Michael Fisher in the 30. Also a great run near the tail end of the race, but comes home in 24th. Brandon Brown, the SimSeats Camaro, finds some trouble tonight from Talladega, comes home 25th. Ronnie Osborne in the 55, caught up in a crash late in the going. He is 26th. 27th goes to Dylan Connolly in the number 95, caught up in the big one going into turn 1. Joseph Gregory is 28th. 29th goes to the 36th place starter, Matt Alberson. Suffered some disconnectivity issues. And James Bigford, also with internet connectivity issues, rounds out the top 30. George Jewell in the 70 got taken out early in the race with no caution coming out as a result. He is 31st. Jason Grafton is 32nd. Doyle Lawrence in the 3 car found trouble earlier on. He is 33rd. Brett Baldeck is 34th. Presley Sora with early problems also left the race 83 laps before the end of it. Comes home in 35th. And Francis Pelletier in the 19 rounds out your 36 car field. From Dega, let's take a moment and head to Victory Lane, where we are joined finally by the driver of the 51, Cole Cabry. And Cole, last week at Chicagoland, you talked about your poor luck at these super speedways. You talked about how Atlanta didn't go your way, Daytona didn't go your way, but tonight it does. How good does it feel to finally break through all of the bad luck and get this W?
Yeah, it's so good. I'm not sure how we did it, but like I said last week, I think we just survived to the end and raced as hard as we can to that point.
You raced hard, you raced clean, and you raced with a lot of purpose. I mean, you and Cole, or Chase Cabry rather, working so well together through this race. What was that like to build that partnership between you and Chase over the course of the night and just be as fast as possible, whether it be 2 or 3 wide action on the track?
Yeah, we had our little team, and we always seemed to find each other when we needed it. And more cars, the better here at the super speedway races. So luckily, we had Michael, Alex, Corey, Chase, all of us ready to jump on board when we needed to. And yeah, it just ended up working out in the end.
Well, right now on the production feed, we're looking at a slow-mo version of the last lap or so, where Dale Earnhardt, Adam Boyles, Joshua Slate, you're getting pushed by DJ Cummings. all of this around you. What's going through your head in this overtime restart?
Honestly, I was just looking in my mirror. I wasn't too worried about what was in front of me because what was in front of me was just the pavement. So I was more worried about what was going on behind me. And when I seen them get turned, I was actually I was shocked because I was thinking I was going to get turned in the whole deal. So thankfully, DJ just stuck to my rear bumper and pushed me to the end.
Well, you get this win. It's your first M&R win entirely, your first one of the summer series. And now we go to Auto Club Speedway with the Gen 4 cars, a car that you've been performing so well. I mean, second place at Chicagoland just last Monday night. So how are you going to try to bring the momentum from this win in the next gens over to California Auto Club Speedway with Gen 4s?
The same way we did last week with the second place. We're just gonna race as hard as we can and see. I don't like sitting back. I want to go. So I'll be 100% from lap 1 to the end of the race next week. So yeah, super excited for that.
All right, well, Cole, a huge win here from Talladega Superspeedway on behalf of our entire broadcast crew. A huge congrats on the W tonight. We'll see you at Auto Club Speedway next Monday, but for now, congratulations on the win from Talladega once more.
Appreciate it.
Cole Cabry in the 51, the winner here in this Mach10 Digital 250 from Dega. Let's talk to the driver who comes home in second. That is the NASCAR Ford Mustang of DJ Cummings, Darren Denman.
And DJ, great run. I know we just talked to you a little bit ago as we were coming into that green-white checkered, but the finish that you wanted, it went green despite some drama there. And with everyone falling out behind you, no pushers, no blockers, could you have done anything different to get past that 51?
The only thing I could think of was, after seeing that we were just clear of everybody, was maybe backing it up just a hair and seeing if I could get a run. But at the same time, the way that the air was working, you never know how quick you're actually going to pull up to somebody. So, I mean, I think I did it right where I pushed him out, see if I could get the move where I go either outside or inside and try and get the side draft and see if it goes by him. Tried outside. Didn't work. It's a 50-50 shot, honestly. Right. So, but I think the best case scenario was we got the restart we wanted, and then once I got hooked up to the 51 there, I was just pushing the living hell out of them until we got clear of the field. As I had a feeling all those guys, I could see it in my rearview mirror, those guys were racing real hard, and someone was going to make a bad block or hit somebody too hard and just wreck themselves out, which is exactly what happened.
Absolutely.
And at that point, I was just like, in 3 and 4, I'm like, oh, I actually finally have a shot at one of these things. It took a really long time. But hats off to the whole trio that I was working with, Bailey Turner, Matt Stallneck. I think we finished 2-4-5. So that's we'll call that a win in our books. I think we played the strategy out on that green flag pit stop really well. And I think it turned out pretty good. Besides, it would have been nice to get a win, but hey, most of the time I either end up caught up in someone else's mess or way back wrecked really early. So that's I'll take a P2 finish.
You know, talk about that a little bit, would you, DJ? Like, you're a veteran of this. You've been around a while in this league and in the sport itself, and you were right in contention there again on the last lap of the Daytona race earlier this season. What does it take to put yourself in the front? Is it a lot of luck, or is it maybe some sage wisdom there as well to always be in contention here for these wins?
A combination of both, I think. You need to have a little bit of luck on your side always, and that's the case with any race. To have a yellow go your way, or you play the strategy outright where you got fresher tires than somebody else. But on a play race like this, I think when if you could time the lanes and the runs right, you could get yourself up a couple positions on either side. So definitely a combination of both. Had to come from the back a couple of times. Was able to do that just with a little bit of patience. I was able to see that a lot of folks were not so patient, and then I think if you just take that split second and take the lane when it comes to you, some good things happen. So these super speedway races are all most of the luck of the draw and whatever situation you get. So luckily we had enough gas and we were able to get that P2 finish.
Man, it was almost like you predicted it going into that green-white checkered. Called it going green, having just enough gas to make it there. DJ Cummings, great run, second place here tonight. We'll see you in California next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
So that is DJ Cummings, driver of the 10, who comes home in second place here at Talladega Superspeedway. Now, we don't have Dale Tanhart. He's not in any of the voice channels, so we won't be able to get him for an interview, but still, got to give the credit where credit is due. Dale Tanhart in the right place at the right time and wraps up the podium here at the Superspeedway race, our third of the 4 that we will have, while we will rejoin the Next Gen Superspeedway racing in around 2 weeks on August 7th, Darren. We have Gen 4 racing to approach to Auto Club Speedway next Monday night. But before we look towards the future, let's look at what we just saw in our rearview mirror. Cole Cabry finally getting through. It's been a little while. Strong races week by week by week. And tonight it finally culminates in a race win.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the race that we were expecting. Really after Daytona, the last time we were on one of these 2.5 mile super speedways that turned into a demolition derby, the first little bit of the race was a lot of chaos, and then we really settled into a nice green flag run that got us to the end of the race really quickly. We saw strategy come into play, as we always seem to do on Monday Night Racing. And then the green-white checker came into play, as well as we had another exciting finish and a great winner in the 51. And Cole Cabry able to pull it off tonight, hold off a great veteran of Monday Night Racing, DJ Cummings. So just, again, an all-around great race once again here during the Summer Series.
You know what? In some way, this race felt like the Chicagoland race last week, in which we had a lot of phenomenal racing between all the drivers in the field, many comers and goes. We had strategy, green flag, pit stops along the way, some drama here and there, but ultimately we had a great winner all the way at the end and a hard-fought finish. Cole Cabry gets his first ever Monday Night Racing Summer Series win. We head to Auto Club Speedway next Monday night on July 31st. With the favorite Gen 4 cars, and every time we get to see these cars on track there, and I get so excited because the field and these cars have just combined to bring us classic after classic after classic. What are your expectations when we head to SoCal next Monday?
I mean, honestly, in real life, the Auto Club race was probably one of the best of the year, and I'm expecting just a great race with those high horsepower cars out in California next. Every race on Monday Night Racing, though, is a great race. There's always different storylines. There's always surprises. There's always great strategy. It really is a great show here on Monday Night Racing, and I'm going to expect a lot more of that coming up next Monday night.
And the great show continues at Auto Club Speedway. Be sure to tune in July 31st, Monday night. It'll be same time, same place, around 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on the main Podium Esports Twitch channel. For Ford Martin and everyone at Monday Night Racing, Paul Sutton and Michael Hall in Race Control, for Gary Sexton and John Theodore at Podium Esports, for our camera builder Dougie Beard, our overlay builder Michael Hall, for Cameron Aubernon on Podium Esports social media, and for our crew on the show tonight, for our producer Ryan Bauer and my colleague in the booth Darren Denman, my name is Kenneth Bueno, saying thank you for watching the Mach10 Digital 250 from Dega. The FrontStretch.com post-race show is coming your way next with Jared Haas and Brandon Houff.
Welcome on into the FrontStretch.com post-race show. I'm your host, Jared Haas, joined in by Brandon Hoff after a very adventurous 11th place finish. You've had an up and down day, but it was beginning to look like it was going to be Corey Heim and Leighton Sabile's day. That unraveled, but at the end of the day, it was one of the Cabry boys that took the victory lane, Cole Cabry. But I want to dig into your day first because it started early. You qualified third right behind Corey Heim and Leighton Sabile, one of the faster cars. And then coming off of turn 4, you had a little bit of difficulty, got spun with contact with Presley Sora.
Yeah, I still haven't looked at the replay. I know we were talking to Bailey Turner off camera. He said it was kind of between him and Presley. He thinks Presley overreacted a little bit. I think Presley might think otherwise. I don't know. I was just running my own line on the bottom, and next thing I know, I'm in the inside wall. But yeah, I had 5 minutes of damage after that. Kind of illegally entered pit road because I didn't feel like driving all the way around. So I'm just like, I'll just go into pit road, get some damage repaired. Unfortunately, I had a 40-second hold, black flag. So that's what lost me a lap to begin with. And then I luckily didn't go 2 down because I exited the pits as the caution came out. And I believe they were about a second behind me when I got to pit exit. So I saved myself the second lap down. I wanted to take the wave around, but then I didn't get out ahead of the guys who were already in pit road. So it was going to put me behind anyway. But, you know, and then I got the lucky dog right away. And from there on, I just kept getting more damage repaired. The car actually was fine. Like, I ran with 4 minutes of damage and was able to hang in the pack. But yeah, you know, I'm not one to get mad at people very often, but I was pretty mad in the middle of that race, and I was saying off camera, like, I don't want to call people out. Maybe I will now, because I'm sorry, I'm just sick of it, because I've been in the Superspeedway League for, it's been, what, 3 weeks now? And I've been in the Gen 4, it's not so much. But every time I am around Corey Heim, Leighton Sabile, Michael Fisher, not so much the Cabri boys, but I know they're part of the group. Every time I'm hung out, Michael Fisher cost me a win at Atlanta because he decided going 3 wide out of 4 was better than staying behind me and maybe pushing me to a win, but he couldn't push me past his buddy Corey. I'm sorry, I don't normally say that, but I was so mad at that. And then midway through the race, we got Corey and Leighton wrecking each other in the middle of the pack while we're 10 seconds back of the field. Caused a caution, caused me to spin mark. Didn't cause me any more damage, but it put me behind the 8 ball even more. But yeah, I mean, from there on, I was just trying to hang in the draft, do what I can. And then we had the one run where I gained 16, or our entire pack went from 22 seconds back to 6 seconds back by the time we got another caution, mainly because they were saving fuel, and we kind of weren't. But we luckily got the caution. I think it was about 11 or 12 to go. And then I got as high as 7th or 8th on the last lap. And then we had the wreck. I full throttled into the wreck because I wasn't checking up and I had no spotter and I had no idea who was in front of me. I blew a tire. I came to the line about 100 miles an hour with a blown tire and the wheels shaking like crazy. But got 11th. I don't know how. It was eventful. But, you know, when I was up front, it was fun. I wasn't up front after lap, whatever that was, 15. But, you know, I always enjoy these plate races no matter what. I know Daytona wasn't really that great in this league, but I still had fun. Atlanta, I had a blast. Here I had a blast. But, you know, I just like super speedway racing, I guess. But one of these days, I'll get a win. Whether it's this season. Well, actually, it won't be this season because the last super speedway race is next. And I won't be here August 7th. But yeah, it was eventful.
Obviously, with your frustration, and you started your this list, an anagram of Colin Fern's list. But I want to talk about a little bit, besides the opposite side of rivals, is kind of who you were working for with planning that now. Obviously, Nick Olson not there. Who did you ended up working with during this entire race?
Well, me and Bailey Turner, we were doing a good job there on the bottom to start. I knew Leighton and Corey on the top, they were going to be dominant. And Bailey just kept pushing me. And I'm like, let's just keep this going. He wanted me to get up in front of Leighton and Corey, but I knew what was going to happen immediately. Immediately, I was going to get put 3 wide, and I was going to be in trouble, and I was going to be in the back. And I didn't want that. My plan was to run up front all night, especially not having Nick. And I work with Colin, too. And I knew not having them, I was in trouble if, you know, I left the front. Because getting to the front in these cars, you need some help. And if you don't have any help, you know, you're not going to go anywhere. But, no, and then once, you know, I left the front, I found myself working with Josh Slate, Steve Offant, Mark Urbilis. Us 4 were kind of in a, you know, little pack there. We made good time, as I said, when we made up those 16 seconds. It was really us 4 kind of anchoring that train. And we all did a good job. You know, everybody was, you know, we were all trying to save fuel, but at the same time we weren't, because we knew how far back we were. If we didn't get a caution, we were all going to have to pit. But, you know, it's all about finding friends, you know. It's kind of on-the-go stuff, too. It's kind of whoever's in front of you, sometimes you just got to work with them and hope they work with you back. Other times you obviously pre-plan it with teammates or whoever, or friends or, you know, whoever else. But for me, it was kind of just whoever was around me. If you wanted to work with me, great. If you didn't, I was kind of screwed. But in the end, it didn't matter. You know, I feel like if I would have missed the wreck, I would have been 2nd or 3rd. Finished 11th, as I've said, but it's just about finding friends, and for me, it was kind of on the go. So.
Well, let's bring in the third place finisher. It seems like this guy always gets in contention every super speedway race. He shares a pretty similar name to a guy who performed well, Dale Earnhardt. We are joined by Mr. Dale Tanhart. Dale, you finished third, and I got to ask, first and foremost, how the heck did you avoid that wreck right before that green-white checkered? Because it seemed like the seas just parted for you.
Yeah, it was interesting on that final lap. I was mad at myself because I gave up the bottom. I was kind of trying an aggressive side draft, and the 22 peaked underneath me as he should have, and I tried not to make a bad block there and fight for another day, or live to fight another day. And going into 3, I was debating whether I should push the 79 on the high line or if I should cut down and try to push by and then try to be that first guy to jump high. So I went with the latter, got to the bottom. When I saw I think it was a 45 spin, I was like, he's going to go up the track. And I immediately just darted down below, and kind of shades of the NASCAR Talladega 2012 when Kenseth won and like Tony Stewart wrecked and flipped over. Kind of shades of like Jeff Gordon, Kyle Busch, when they just like barely missed the crash, like went to the apron. And finished third, but I definitely wanted to win. But that was a good highlight. Definitely did a good job avoiding all the crashes throughout the race.
Yeah, no, I was around you a little bit. I think my one regret, if I had anything I could do different, I probably would have followed you on the last lap instead of tried to side draft you, because that kind of ruined my run, and I probably would have had a better chance at avoiding that wreck. And who knows, I probably would have been behind you and maybe pushed you to a win. I don't know, but no, go ahead.
Well, I feel like if we had stayed up there, like if you had gotten behind me, and then there was a guy behind you, I don't remember who it was. I feel like we would have been more inclined to stay in that top lane and try to get a big run, which I think we would have. But then we definitely would have been involved in that wreck. That was going to happen regardless of what our lane did. So, because that lane wasn't formed up, that's why I went to the bottom, and then the wreck happened and took out everybody that was in that top lane at that time. So, no, it's no sweat. You got to be selfish at the end of those races, dude. If you're not selfish, like you have such a lower % chance of winning.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's probably why I don't have a win, because I'm not selfish.
I don't either. I've in 3 of the races, I've second and third. So, I've been there too. I get it. I'm still trying to get that dub.
Dale, you're kind of more of a relatively newcomer on that, but you've made big impressions on, obviously, the finishes you've had, 2 top 3 finishes at super speedway races. Dale, how is this performing well? Has this translated into respect with more people wanting to work with you, going through that field and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to follow Dale Tanhart, because at the end of the day, Dale Tanhart ends up at the front of the pack at the end of these races?
Man, I don't know. I don't know if there is a lot of correlation there of people like wanting to work with me. I think that's actually been more difficult for me trying to get people to follow me and make moves with me. There's a few guys in the field, and in the first race at Daytona, I kind of put a little message out there to Presley Sora and was like, "Hey, let's shake and bake." I felt like I needed to say something to somebody, and he decided to work with me after I made that comment, right? So I don't know if he would have worked with me at Daytona when I ended up finishing second, but no. Other than that, I think it's just all circumstance. As I feel like what Mike Joy always would say in these real life super speedway races, your friends are where you find them, right? Like back in the tandem era. So I think that applies most of the time, unless you're real buddy with somebody, which I'm really not. Matt Stallneck's probably my closest dude in this community, so he works with me usually any chance we have to work together. But I feel like most of the time it's circumstance, friends, or where you find them when it comes to these late race moments.
No, I feel that 100%. I just looked at the points. You're sitting third place, 7 points back of the leader, who is Corey Heim still. We got 1 race left now. Daytona 07. What are you feeling? Have you done any next gen racing on the old Daytona yet? What's the confidence level on that?
Well, I might have to practice. I was wondering about that. I knew because Atlanta, I crashed on the last lap and didn't get a good run. I think I finished like 20th. But I knew with 2 top 3s, I was like, man, I might be in a spot where I could contend for this championship, which is awesome, right? It definitely exceeding expectations. But no, I haven't done Gen 7 on the old Daytona surface, but I might have to practice now knowing that I might have a shot. I don't know. I feel like I kind of jump into these and just play survival, right? Like survive as long as possible, try to stay out of the wrecks, stay in that ground where you're not losing the draft, but also far enough back to where, you're not getting caught up in the mess of everybody racing real aggressive. I think the same would go there. I know the 07 Daytona, from what I remember running in the Gen 4, very, very bumpy. Tires are substantially more important than what they are what we were just at. So yeah, no, that's cool. It's cool to have a shot, or at least be that close, in the points to win a championship. And I saw Corey finish like 20th, so I know that helped out there too. But look, Corey Heim, I have to talk about betting for 1 second. Corey Heim lost me my 401k when he got passed by Kyle Busch in the final lap of that truck race. He owes me something, right? If I could rig this finale to let me gain 8 points on Corey Heim, I would take a deal under the table, no question, because he owes me that.
And that goes into my last question, and that talking a little bit about more what you do in the racing side. You run Garage Guys. I've seen you at the racetrack quite a few times as well. Kind of give a little bit more introduction of what you guys do with the betting side. And I mean, you obviously mentioned your worst loss with Corey Heim with that big flip at the Pocono race, but give us your best win as well.
Ooh. And that's definitely, hold on, that's not my worst loss ever, but it's, that's a pretty tragic way to lose a big bet. Best win, probably Chase Briscoe. The beginning of the Gen 7 era was a really fun and scary time for betting. I feel like right now the Cup Series is harder than ever to bet on because of these finishes, just getting multiple yellows, green, white checkers, jumbled up restarts. But at the beginning of the Gen 7 era, I picked Chase Briscoe to win at 50-1 at Phoenix, and he won that race. So I think that's got to be my best, because I don't think anyone else was on Briscoe, like any other renowned NASCAR betting personalities in the industry. So that one felt really good. That one felt good because there was a good opportunity to possibly capitalize on crazy odds when we were racing on a brand new car with these tire problems and parts breaking on the Toyotas, so that's probably my best win. Briscoe 50-1 at Phoenix in 2022.
Well, Dale, I mean, you're right there in contention too. You got 2 of the 3 spots in the podium, looking for that third one next in 2 weeks at the final Superspeedway race. Dale, it's a pleasure to have you on the Front Stretch post-race show. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. I appreciate you guys. That was a lot of fun, and shout out to everybody who has tuned into this. A lot of fun. Hope you tune in next time.
Yes, sir.
Take care, Dale.
Thanks, Dale.
And now we're going to go to the other side of the spectrum. We are going to bring in Dylan Connolly, who's about had a day that Brandon Hoff did, but not the result that he's looking for. Dylan, do you have a copy with us?
Yeah, I sure do. Yeah, we got cleared at the infield care center. We're good.
I got to ask first and foremost, you had the broadcast doing an in-race report with you while you were drafting. How do you manage that? And would that be honestly the most difficult track to do an in-race report while racing on the green, or would there be a different track?
I really think this would be the easiest, because you have, I was just sitting in traffic basically. Heck, I even texted Bauer. I said, hey, if you want to, you could come talk to me. And, I didn't know if he was reading it or if he was in producer mode, but, he ended up seeing it. I'm like, okay. I mean, I was just chilling on the bottom. So I just was like, okay, I'll do it now. Who cares? I mean, it's not like I was trying to block 3 lanes of traffic or anything, but I was like, it's been a good time to get some TV time. This would be fun. But yeah, I think it would be hard at a lot of other tracks. Like, I probably wouldn't do it if we're racing Gen 4s at Chicagoland or Homestead or somewhere like that. I might, who knows? But, it's pretty easy here because it's just sitting in traffic because we decided to not be stupid for 10 laps for once in the race. And then we had another caution, and then we decided not to be stupid for like 50 laps, and then we got really stupid. So
this is your second Superspeedway race, I believe, out of the 3.
Yes.
So you did Atlanta last week, and you got 2 weeks ago, we'll say.
Yeah.
But you finished 12th there, and now, obviously, not tonight. You've been in now M&R the whole summer pretty much. Basically, what's your impression of the league so far? You've done the Gen 4 and now the 2 Superspeedway races. What's your impression?
So, I've kept up with the league. I've watched it for 4 seasons now. I can't remember, but it's kind of like it's essentially a diet version of what the regular Monday night racing will be, where it's a different car and track combo every single week. And if you race in a regular league, you might, if they run the Gen 4 or the Xfinity car or whatever, you'll get used to that car and you'll know the ins and outs of it. Well, if you go from the Gen 4 car, which is really difficult to drive on the 1.5 miles that they race at, and then you flip over the next week to a next gen that has one of the most difficult draft packages to master of at least the NASCAR cars, then that's where it really keeps you on your toes because you have to learn how to adapt really quickly. Because I've seen them run different car and track combos where, at that time I didn't have the car, I didn't have the track or whatever it may be, but it keeps you on your toes. So you have a Rolodex to go off of because I drove both of those cars a lot. But, for the average person that's just running around, they might not know. Now, as for the actual races, the races are, actually pretty good. There's a few, we'll call them squirrels that are there. I won't say any names, but they change week to week. But, that's every league. You have your squirrels in every league on iRacing. Hell, you have them in real life. But yeah, it's been a real enjoyable experience. I'm glad I was able to race the summer series, and certainly hope there's a spot at the table reserved for me at the when season 7 starts. Say that 10 times fast here in a couple of weeks.
A little bit curious on with the Alpha Prime sponsorship too, how that kind of more came together on your car as well. Alpha Prime's been pretty big on motorsports, even owned a team with Tommy Joe Martins. How did that deal came along with you?
So it actually started before they were Alpha Prime Racing, and I don't get, it's not a paid sponsorship in this. I just still run their colors because I formed a good bond with a lot of their people there. David Shieldhouse, George Belfons, who's also a Monday Night Racing driver. David Shieldhouse as well. And Tommy Joe Martins was live on site. Can't remember which finale it was. I think it was season 5 or season 6 when they had it in Charlotte. But they're all big into Monday Night Racing, so I just like representing their colors and try to put on a good front. It's funny, the partnership with Tommy Joe happened around this time 3 years ago, 2020. I was entering the Firecracker 400, which is going on. What's going on this week? And I was like, I'm not that good. I want to at least make my sponsorship money back. So I was like, yeah, I'll take a sponsor. So I started making a bunch of videos on Twitter, and I did one like, it'd be really cool if you sponsored me. And then I jumped in an ice bath. And then there were a few others like, I'm going to shoot my shot at some sponsorship. And I'm shooting, I'm in the gym that I work at, and I'm just knocking down threes. So I'm just doing goofy videos to get a sponsor. And then he said, tweets like, name a price. And, the rest, as they say, is history. So, but it's been good to see them evolve. The last couple of weeks, it was my turn to have the Alpha Prime luck this week. They finally had a little bit of good luck. This last 2 weeks or so, they had a double top 20, which, you'll take those when you're fighting in the mid pack every week. But if I could take the bad luck every week and then they have the good luck on Saturdays or Fridays or whenever they may race, then I'll take it. But I always like rooting for them. They got good drivers with them. A lot of guys that have big ties to sim racing. Raja Caruth, who's big on iRacing, say he got his chance in real racing because of what he did on iRacing. Ryan Ellis, who's been on here before. Tommy Joe used to stream. I mean, there's a lot of intertwining pieces between there and iRacing.
I hate to break your heart, but season 7 does start in October, not in a couple weeks. So got a little bit more time to.
Let's not rush
I mean,
the
time does
summer.
fly when you're at a racetrack.
I mean, it's August is almost next week, so I mean, it is.
Yeah.
It depends how you define.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, a handful of weeks. Good lord.
2 months.
We don't want to get. Yeah, we want to make sure we give you the proper time too.
Oh, I mean, I'm always ready. But a fun fact, by the way, I can't really show it on my screen, but I'm in an official race right now, so that's why you might see me steering or doing wreck avoidance. So you're getting a second in-race report in one night. So that's fun. We're running some Talladega, so that's all I'll say. But
so you can't get away from it.
No, it's like this is the closest thing to drugs that you could get without having anything harm you. I mean, because it's just you get wrecked and then you're like, gosh, that just really sucks. And then you remember, oh yeah, I could do this again in 45 minutes. This is great.
That's the beauty of iRacing, right?
Yeah, that's what I've always thought is you get you run a B fixed and you get wrecked. Whatever. You got A fixed in half an hour, or you got limited late models. You got Mazda Cup. You got all kinds of stuff on iRacing. That's why I like it, because you can do so much stuff and it never gets boring because it changes every week. Plus, there might be tracks that I like. For instance, Talladega is one of them. But yeah, that's where we're at.
So one final question here. I know I asked you about your impressions of the league so far. I haven't been in it now. How confident are you? Are you becoming more confident? About competing more for let's say top 10s and maybe getting close to maybe competing for a win. Here soon.
Yeah.
I know we got the Gen 4 next week at I believe Auto Club, and then we got the last Superspeedway race at Daytona 07, and then we got one more Gen 4 race after that. But is your comfort level going up as the weeks go on?
It's funny. I'll probably end up having better finishes in the Gen 4 races than I would in the Superspeedway races, just depending on luck and pure stupidity that may happen. Because of the Gen 4 series, you could kind of drive away from the stupidity, you could drive away from all the issues, because I mean, you might have a big one like at Charlotte. We had a big one up front, but for the most part, I mean, tonight was the first time I got a 4X, and I've ran 4 races so far. So it's like you can stay out of trouble pretty easy. But just tonight I was pushing Ronnie Osmer, and I've worked well with him. We've ran other races together. We ran in Anthony Alfredo's league, and we've always worked well together. So I was like, yeah, I'll hang out with my buddy. It's just wrong place. So it's all anyone could have been in that spot. I could have net coded through the wreck. I could have been on the bottom. Really, who knows? But it's just a lot of times it's, can you keep your nose clean and stay out of trouble? That's why you'll see when I run super speedway races like this, I'll tend to run the bottom, even though it's not that good because the top line's so dominant. But if there's a wreck that happens, my thought is, well, I got options here. I can go through the grass. I can go down to the inside way low. And I got a bunch of options, as opposed to if you run the middle and the top, you're kind of boxed in. So, I mean, at the end there, I had to run the top because I'm trying to win. But it's, you do what you have to do there, but I don't like to go. I don't really like to do anything aggressive until under 10 to go ish. Whenever we had that last restart was about the edge of like, okay, it's time to go do something here. Because the runs are so big if you're hooked up correctly, but you also gotta think 2-3 steps ahead and maybe a lap ahead or so. But it's all controlled. But I like where I'm at. If I'm sitting in 4th place and about to push Ryan to the lead, and then a bad bump happens, and we all get killed, and then Gen 4, if I manage my tires better, I get a top 10 there, and was stared at a top 10 at Atlanta, and then Dale goes below the red line, and we kind of bump, but I end up just outside the top 10. So I like where I'm at. It's just the results aren't showing, but the process is good, if that makes sense.
Well,
it does, yeah.
Dylan, it is a pleasure to have you on here from one Arkansan to another.
Yes, I noticed that today, by the way. I noticed that when I followed you on Twitter. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe Haas is from Arkansas. I can't believe I ever pieced that together. But I mean, it's just 2 hours from the house. So I'm like, this is awesome.
I live in Little Rock a little bit. Don't know. I live in Little Rock, and I work for the Arkansas State newspaper, the Arkansas. Yes,
Big fan of the dim gas,
so.
as they call it so eloquently.
Oh. Well, thank you, Dylan. Let you get back to your race. You take care.
I appreciate it, guys. Always appreciate it. Can't wait for next week. Shout out to everybody that makes this possible. Alpha Prime folks, all the people that are responsible for painting my car, and everybody watching. We got like 12 people just watching me on my screen talk while there's supposedly racing going on in the background. We're sitting like 18th, but we hadn't wrecked yet, so it's good. So
there you go. Well, good luck, Dylan.
Let you keep it up. Well, Brandon, let's wrap it up here. Looking up ahead on the Monday Night Racing schedule, we only have 2 Gen 4 races left and 1 Superspeedway race. We have Auto Club Speedway coming up on July 31st for the Gen 4. Daytona 2007 right before the repave, so that's going to be interesting. You're not going to be there as well. And then Homestead Miami Speedway finishing out the regular Monday night Summer Series Gen 4 season finale 2. Brandon, looking at those 2 Gen 4 races that you're going to be going at, how does Auto Club and Homestead compare? This is more with the Gen 4, more of a, I would say, aerodynamic dependent car. How do they compare and contrast to like a Gen 6 car in your eyes?
Ooh, well, it depends on which Gen 6 you're talking about, which type of package. If we're talking now the 2016 and 2018 package, I guess it's kind of similar, but at the same time, I think the Gen 4 has that much more power. Personally, I've said it on this show before. I say it to everybody. The Gen 4 is my favorite car on iRacing, hands down. It's like the only thing I race if I do official racing now. Obviously, I do the next gen for M&R, but the Gen 4 is my favorite. But the Gen 6, 2016 to 2018, and the Gen 4, they can compare. I mean, both are hard to drive. I remember back in the day on iRacing, that Gen 6 was a handful. I'll never forget. We did, I think, the final. So on iRacing, for those that are familiar, they have the iRacing series, which it's half the length of the regular Cup races. They do it, I think, 3 or 4 times a week, mainly 9 o'clock Eastern on Thursday and Sunday. We did the final Gen 6 750 race at Las Vegas, and I was a part of it. And I remember having a blast. And I finished second in my race. I led like 80 laps. It was a great strength of field, a lot of good drivers. And that was in I think that was the beginning of 2019 before iRacing implemented the new package that they had at the time, the 550. Fast forward to the first Gen 4 race ever on iRacing back in, I believe, February, and we did Homestead for the first official race. And I remember saying after that race, that was the most fun I ever had since driving that Gen 6 race back at Vegas. So, because it just felt so similar. Cars were hard to drive, tire wear was a factor. You had to save your tires. You had the power down the straightaway. You can run multiple lines next to the wall, on the bottom, middle lane. You can run all over the track. So it does compare, and it is just as fun, or at least to me it was. I know for a lot of people they'll probably say the same thing. And back then I was part of the Pro Series back in 2016 at least. So, I was driving those cars, we'll say professionally, even though I wasn't there yet, or I should say again, because I was a part of it in 2014. But yeah, they're very similar in that aspect. Not similar at all if we're talking about the 550. Completely different. Gen 4, hands down, much better. Is it still better than the Gen 6 2016 to 2018 package? I believe so. I think the Gen 4 just triumphs above all.
Some very high remarks from Brandon Hoff about the iRacing Gen 4 mod. You'll catch them next week here on the Podium Sports Twitch page and also FrenchStretch.com's YouTube page. As you can check our YouTube page as well to get all the post-race content after the Pocono Raceway interviews from Kyle Larson, even his crew chief, Chad Canals. You have Joey Logano and Tyler Reddick as well, keeping you up to date with the NASCAR news. If you're not at frontstretch.com. You're not at the best seat of the track. You're not on the best view in the web. So make sure to check us out. Thank you very much for sticking along here for the Monday Night Racing post-race show. Join in next week as we will recap the action at Auto Club Speedway, the Gen 4 cars. From Jared Haas and Brandon Hoff here, we are signing off here tonight. Thank you very much.
See you guys.